Yes.
Now he's
Are
going to
you
be proving
borrowing
it.
from our
Proving.
worldview
So,
in order to do
Fireman
that?
Bill will say that in the chat at some point. He won't come on stage to say it, but he will say it in the chat at some point.
Well, of course. You do need to have a bit of backbone in order to, talk about your beliefs with other people. In the
So what's the
absence of
what's
that. Sorry.
okay? What's the let me have a look. See. Oh, the
Okay,
God of the
so
Old Testament is immoral. I know fuck
yes.
all about it. I'm out.
Yeah. Well, we do know a bit about it, so that's why we are like fairly confident in saying that the God of the Old Testament is pretty moral.
And that might make you a good neutral party to judge.
Yeah. I mean, depending on how many Christians or Jews maybe, we have that are willing to talk about it, then yeah, we can.
I will
do
apply
that.
my superposition subjective universal morals to the debate.
Okay, Jordan Peterson, take it easy. Take it easy, please. Come on. So, any Christians in the VC that are willing or able and willing to talk about this topic?
Or Jews.
Or Jews, yeah, as I said, it's like anybody that believes in the God of the Old Testament, in Yahweh.
Or anyone really. I mean, even if you were an atheist and you somehow thought that that's like still you could still learn good morals from the Old Testament. I mean, sure, but
Yeah,
that'll be an interesting one.
yeah, I've never really heard any of those, but maybe there are somewhere in the world that are like a rare species, right? Like people that do believe that the God of the Old Testament was actually pretty good and chill and nice, and he was kind of like
You
the
can ask
moral
him. You can
compass.
ask him religion.
So let's see. So apparently, it's like no, we don't have any Christians or any Jews or any Muslims. Maybe they also believe in the God of the Old Testament. He was like a
You
good guy.
You got a Muslim here, but I don't read the Old Testament, so I'm probably not the guy for you.
Okay, so yeah, I know that's usually not the case, right? So that's why I don't hedge my bets on like any Muslims coming up and defending this position. But you never know.
I mean,
you never know.
Here's the thing, man, is that God is by definition good. Excuse me. God is by definition good. So if you're going to say that the God of the Old Testament is immoral, like you don't even have to be religious to just kind of like reject that on its face.
Yeah, but
Because God is.
What does it mean?
God is.
but what is
Yeah,
good?
Alex, just a
What are
second. Alex,
Sorry.
so like this one is like me and Krishan, so it's mostly us that are going to ask questions. So if you're saying God is by definition good, what do you mean by that?
Things that are good because God says they're good.
Oh, so things are good because God said so?
Yeah. God is the ultimate truth. God is the ultimate goodness. So God is good. That is like a true tautology. So
okay.
Saying that God isn't good is like saying that God is immoral or that God isn't good is
so
like just
you're,
definitionally isn't.
Yeah,
correct.
no, I get it.
Yeah.
So you're saying that if God tells you to do something, you should always do it because that thing is by definition good because God told you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if God, for example, right? Let's say God tells you to go to like the nearest orphanage and take all the kids from the orphanage and just peel the skins from their faces off and then just wear one each day until you're done with them. And after you're done with them, right? After you wear each one for a day, you should
Sure.
use it as a wallpaper for your house. Would that be a good thing?
Yeah, if God said so. God
Yeah.
wouldn't tell me to do that though. So
No,
that's
I'm asking you if you would. I didn't say he did. I'm asking you if you would,
Yeah.
right?
No, if
Because,
he did, yeah.
if so, that would be a good thing, right? So that you think that stuff would be a moral thing.
If it came from God, yeah.
Okay. Do you see the problem with that?
No.
So you don't think there's any problem? And if God were to tell you that, you would do it, right?
if God told me that, if I thought God was telling me that, I'd probably reconsider because God wouldn't tell me that, so I'd probably just be hallucinating or something.
No, but if you would
But
tell
no,
me,
if
but
God,
because
no,
this
but
is
I know,
this is the
I know,
thing.
but I'm going on to my point that if God did tell me to do that for whatever reason, and like the binding of Isaac is a perfect example of this, right?
Oh no,
Abraham was about to kill his
I'm not.
son.
I'm not
There's
like
not
the binding
a
of Isaac
logical,
is
moral
to.
reason he should have killed
That's the
his
thing.
son, except God
Yeah,
told him
but
to do
it's
it, so
not
that
enough,
he was about to
right?
do it. Yeah.
We need to take it to like extremes, right? So the thing in
Yeah.
epistemology is like whenever you say something, you need to take them to some sort of extremes, right? Because that
Uh-huh.
way you actually stress test your ideas, right? And if your ideas actually make sense, and if you were to be willing to do that, right? Then that means that you truly believe in the thing that you just said, right? And you said that it's by definition, right? It's
Yeah.
like by definition, anything God tells you to do is a good thing because God tells you to do it. So
Sir.
if God would tell you to do exactly what I've told you, you'd just be willing to do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you would see it as a good thing, as a moral thing to do.
Absent God, absolutely not. But if God told you to do it, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about like God, and if you
Because
were
here's the thing:
to,
is that God
yeah,
God
I
tells
get
us
it, I
not
get
to
it.
do that. Like he tells us in
Oh
the
no, for
Quran not
sure,
to do that. So
God does
like
tell people to do like a lot of
I'm saying that
things which are not
I'm
good.
saying that if I thought that God from on high was telling me to do that,
Mhm.
I would be placed into a dilemma, not because I think it's bad, but because God has already told me not to do that, and
No,
now He's
I get
telling me
it.
to.
Like you
And
believe
so
in
I'm like
like
in a
no,
quandary,
no,
right? Yeah.
obviously it's like you're like you believe in subjective morality, and you subject
No,
yourself to the whim of whatever God you believe in, and yeah, that's
I believe
fine.
in
Like people,
objective morality. Morality isn't subjective.
but wait, you just said that whatever is good is because God told you. Is God
Yes,
not a
it's
mind?
objectively because God says so.
Is
God is
God not a mind?
objective. What
I'm sorry.
is God a
Was that my
mind? What does that
question?
mean?
No. Does God have a mind?
Does God have a mind? Not in the
Yeah.
way that humans do, but sure, yeah.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but God has a mind. So it's like whenever God
Well,
tells
asking
you
if God has a
something,
mind,
yeah,
I'll
when God
explain. Because
tells you
asking if God,
something, just listen.
yeah,
When God tells you to do something, right? Like those things come from His mind, right? Because that's how He tells you to do something,
no,
right?
and
No.
I'll explain. I'll explain why. Asking if God has
Okay.
a mind is like asking how tall God is. A mind is something that humans have. That when we talk about minds, we're talking about it as in relation to how we experience our own minds. So
Oh.
the reason I use that caveat is because like God supersedes, like God isn't a human, like God supersedes that. So asking if God has a mind, it's like
Okay.
asking if
So
how
what do
tall
you
God
think
is.
a mind
I don't know how to
is?
answer.
What do you think a mind is?
The way I understand the mind is it's just the conscious, it's just the thinking part of your brain. That's all it is.
Oh. Also, is the part that makes up thoughts, right?
Your mind. There's probably a better way of putting it, but yeah, it's what you think with. Yeah, is your mind.
Okay. Does God think?
It's the same thing, bro. Like he has the ability to think. Does he think? Again, I that's kind of just a nonsensical
So he
question.
has
He's
the
able to
ability.
think.
You just said he has the ability to think. So
Is
if
the
he has the
ability to do
ability to
anything.
think, yeah. So if he has the
Yeah.
ability to think, and God thinks, because I mean,
Well, no, because saying
just
that someone
tell
has
me if
saying that
I'm
you have
wrong.
the
Tell me
ability,
if I'm wrong.
saying
Tell
that
me if
you.
I'm wrong.
Well,
Just
no,
a
I just want to
second.
clarify because saying that you have the ability to do something isn't equivalent to doing it. I have the
No, I
ability to
get
live
it.
in
I get it.
Ethiopia, but I don't live in Ethiopia, right?
Maybe you do, maybe you don't. That's relevant, but it's like I wasn't talking about that. Right? I was talking about the properties of somebody. Living in Ethiopia is not a property of yourself, right? It's something you could do, right? We're talking about the properties of God now. So it's like when it comes to the properties of God, it's not about Him being able or not to live in Ethiopia. So yeah, definitely not the same thing. So
Okay.
the question is, can God think, and does God think, right? Does God have thoughts
Can
or
God think?
not?
Yes. Does God think? Maybe.
No, but does He have thoughts?
I honestly don't know.
You don't know. Does God ever talk with anybody?
And
I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to be evasive.
like,
Like I actually
how
like.
about this question though? Like, do you think that
Yeah.
God is a personal being? Is God like, or is
God
God
a
this
person.
inanimate machine? God's personal, right?
He's inanimate. No, he has a.
Okay,
He does things. Like he's not
He's
just like the
personal
wind
though.
or something.
Like God makes
Uh,
decisions, he thinks, he decides, he has desires.
he does
well,
things. He makes like he's
yeah.
not
Do you
random. Like
think that
he
God
has
has a
agency.
mind?
But
Yeah.
but
He
but
has
like
agency.
a factory, like a big like set of machines that assembles a product, it does things. but not in a personal way. It's just doing this mechanistically. That's
It
not what
doesn't
you
have
think God
a
is,
factory
right?
doesn't have agency though. The factory
Right,
doesn't
God
have
has agency. Perfect, right?
Yeah.
And what is agency, right? My understanding is it's the ability to act on a desire. So God has desires. God has thoughts.
I wouldn't even go that far with it. I would just say agency is just the ability to like purposely do things.
Does God do
Purpose,
purposefully?
right? Purpose.
Does God do things purposefully?
Yeah.
It's like,
Right, so that's going to be some
okay,
kind of thought.
yeah.
Yeah, which entails a mental. Yeah, exactly.
And if a mind is just that which furnishes thoughts, then God has a mind.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a big gotcha, right? Like the
No,
whole
it's not.
the
Well,
whole
no, 'cause
objective
I just
versus
don't-
subjective
this isn't the
morality.
language-
Hang on,
This isn't the language I would use for it, so that's like I'm not trying to like.
fair enough.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
But the whole like objective versus subjective thing, like when we put our foot down and say like, oh yes, if you get your morality from God, if God decides what is good or not, then you have subjective morality. It's not some kind of gotcha, and it's not to say that you have bad morality or that it's somehow like wrong. It's just like a technical philosophical definition that when we say objective, it means mind independent. And
Yeah.
Although we're pretty sure that you think that God has a mind because he has thought things like desires and agency.
I mean, that was the part where I was trying to explain to him that obviously he has like subjective morality because he says that anything God says,
he's
right?
probably a divine command theorist.
Yeah, of course, that's what I'm saying, right? So that's by definition is subjective. But also, I'm very comfortable in saying that his morality is extremely atrocious and extremely bad because he was actually saying that going to an orphanage, taking peeling the faces of all the children, wearing them each one face per day until he's done with all of them, and then using them as a to tape them all over his walls in the house. I mean, that sounds like something that's like really bad, and nobody in the world should actually be willing to do that, right? I don't think.
Well, no, because like
peeling
hold
doesn't
on.
shave
Here's
his
the thing.
beard.
Here's the thing. I'm driving, so I can't see who just said that. I think Daniel Hume is.
Yeah. It's like
the thing is that
it's easy to recognize.
There's things
me.
for most atheists, which I'm going to take it you're probably like a agnostic or atheist or something like that. For most atheists, it's not God, but there's some end to which they would do something that atrocious. Again, it's not God.
No,
like,
I would never do that. I
really,
would
so
never
if
do
I
that
had your
because
entire,
that's
your entire
against.
family, hold on.
You're saying something about me, and you don't need to preach like too much. Like I understand what you're trying to say.
I'm not.
Everybody
even
has this.
saying,
No, first
like,
of all,
this isn't a gotcha.
I'm not a First of all, I'm not a moral subjectivist. I'm a moral realist. So I actually believe in objective morality, which is not based in a mind. And second of all, I would never do such a thing because there's no scenario in my morality where doing the thing that I've told you is actually going to end in good results, like ever.
Okay, fair. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If I have your family and your extended family, and I'm not even going to say what it is because I don't really like being graphic on here, but it's like the most disgusting, atrocious, amoral thing you could possibly think of. I'm going to do that individually to each of them. I'm going to make all the rest of them immoral. Yes. Yeah. I'm going to do that to each one of them individual and make all the other ones watch while I'm doing it. Right. And the only way you can stop that is by going to a preschool and doing that thing you said about the faces and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not.
Would you do it?
I'm not doing that.
Okay. That's kind of insane, but okay.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane. Imagine it's like, no, I would try like everything in my power to actually stop you by any means necessary. That is not involving going to the nearest school, peeling the faces of all the children there, wearing them each one day and then using them as a wallpaper for my house. Yes. That thing is never going to be good or moral, right? It's like, you understand, it's like under my, let's say that I just go insane. Just a second. Let's say I do go insane and I actually do that. Under my worldview, that shit would still be immoral, right? Whether I do it or not. And that's the difference because in your worldview, that thing is moral. So you see, this is the difference between... Exactly. That's what I said.
Yeah, are you a divine command theorist, Thomas?
Well, wouldn't it be the lesser of two evils, right?
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just like, God forbid if you're going to do something.
Yeah, but
to my children or my wife
that's the question. So you see,
I'm going
like
to be
the question.
I'm going to be more willing to do that to someone else. And it's
yeah,
the same thing with
I
atheists.
get it.
There's situations where
But the question is whether or not that thing is moral. right? So it's like whether or not
If God
somebody
wills
would
it,
be
yep.
willing, whether or not somebody would be willing to do an immoral thing is different, right? What I asked you, if that thing is moral, right? And you said that under your worldview, under your subjective morality, yeah, that is moral. That is a moral thing because God
Again,
told you, right? Under my
God is
morality,
equivalent to good.
under
So
my
if God does
morality,
it is
no, I
good.
get
Yes.
it. You already said it. It's fine. Everybody understands that, right?
So what are
So
you
Daniel,
getting at?
Under my
Daniel, just to be
worldview and
clear,
my moral, it's like that thing, even if I were willing to do it, right, would still be immoral. And
Daniel, just to
that's
be
what the
clear,
difference
so
is.
is it more moral or less moral to do the lesser of two evils?
I mean, I think everybody kind of like intrinsically understands
So you
the lesser of two evils is.
I don't
Is
think we
better.
do, because I would consider my entire family getting tortured to death to be worse than the preschooler face thing. 100%.
Yeah, but you see,
but
the
if you're a
difference
divine
here
command
is,
theory-
but the difference here is, like Tom Rees, is that if God were to tell you to do that also to your family, not to the preschoolers,
Yeah.
you would also do it because you would think that is also moral, right?
That's a non sequitur. You're not addressing what I said. Is that everyone can be pushed into a situation where they have to do horrible things, and the thing is that the reason those people are doing those horrible
Oh,
things
wait a second.
is because they hold on, is because they understand it to be
But
good. That's why they're
that's the
doing it, right?
difference. But that's the difference. It's like, do you think doing that to the preschooler is horrible?
Of course it is.
No, but it cannot be because
but-
it's moral. You understand? It's like when you say it's moral,
Yeah, it's
by
the lesser of
definition.
two evils. Like
No,
the
no,
other.
no. It's by
Someone else
definition
was
good.
just saying something about it.
No,
The
no,
lesser
it's
of two
by
evils.
definition. No, no, it's not. No, that's not the case. It's by definition good
Yes.
because you said it's moral, right? So if it's moral, it has to be good. You cannot do something and say it's moral while that thing
Daniel,
is bad.
is it good? Is it good to do the lesser of two evils?
Is it good to do the lesser of two evils?
Yes.
I don't know.
I would say yes.
It's not
Maybe.
rocket science, bro. It is.
It is
Like,
by
It's like
definition,
it's.
right?
I mean, it's desirable. I don't know. It's like if it's necessarily
Well,
good.
okay,
Also,
well,
like this
well,
is also
let's-
like extremely
The thing is,
subjective.
the
Well,
lesser,
let's-
the lesser of
let's-
two,
let's-
the lesser of
let's-
two evils is still going to be evil, even though it's good, because it's your best choice. Right?
Yeah, but you see, it's like
Yeah,
when I
don't
give you
greater
when I
good
give
is-
you just a second. It's like when I gave you the scenario. It's not like you had to choose between that and drinking milk, right? I just told you if God were to tell you to do that, right? You didn't have to choose between that and something even more horrible, right?
No, you are.
That's why
'Cause
it's like
disobeying God is
I'm
by
sorry, it's
definition
like,
going
am
away
I-
from the good.
oh, okay. So it's like so if God were to tell you that, you only had two choices: either obey God or disobey God. And what you're thinking
Yes,
in your head is like what you're thinking is that disobeying God and not doing that is actually way worse than actually doing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm
if
not
God
even sure. I'm
commanded
not
him
even
to-
sure what you're getting at. This is essentially all I'm saying. I'm just rephrasing
explain.
the binding of Isaac. This is all this is.
No, but
Is that
this
just
is the
because-
thing.
Just
They're
because
not with the
you
binding
think
of
something is
Isaac.
bad, just
or
because
not.
you think something is bad, the whole point is that God has the master plan. God knows what's going
Yeah,
on.
of course.
So
No,
if God tells you to
obviously.
do something, your personal subjective
No, whenever your
1 in 8
sky daddy
billion
is telling you to
morality
do something, you
doesn't
need to
matter
trust him.
as
Yes.
much as God. That's the
I
whole
get
point. And like you're
I
not
get it.
addressing that.
Yeah, but Tom
You're just
Riz,
kind
if
of
God
like-
commanded
yeah,
you,
but-
but like if God commanded you to rape 10 babies and you said no, I don't want to do that, that would be bad.
Gentlemen.
Hang on. Just we
let's
can
not
use
do
any
PG,
other
guys. Come on.
use
other
mine,
example
right?
about that one. Like
with their
let's-
faces, right? That's
yeah, peeling their skin.
Ollie,
This is what I don't
Well,
like. Is like you have to use. Actually, no, never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
The trolley
it is what
problem
it
with
is.
is
It
sufficient
is what
to
it is.
describe the scenario.
No, but
Right.
it's like again, it's like you're running away as fast as you can because this is the thing. Like I give you a scenario, right? And in that scenario, right, because you think that God is good, then that means the thing that He told you to do, peeling the skins, right, peeling the faces of those preschoolers, that is a good thing. It's by your definition.
Because God
right?
is good.
But
I don't know
because
how
God
you
is
find-
good.
wait,
Yes,
how do you
but
know
that is
that
good.
God is
So
good?
there's
Not my
there's no
definition. The
bad
definition of
involved
God
in
is that
there,
He is all
right?
good.
In that
He's
sense.
Daniel-
all benevolent. That's what God is. If God tells you to do something, by
Yeah.
definition, it's good.
So
Like,
there
you're
is
thinking
there is
about this way
literally
too hard.
nothing.
That's
There
your
is literally
definition of
nothing.
God.
Yeah, but there was literally nothing that God could tell you to do that would be bad, right? So like anything, I
Here's
could
the thing,
come up
dude,
with a
is that- okay,
scenario
here's
that
the
is
bigger-
like,
here's the bigger
yeah,
picture,
Thomas,
here's the
you
bigger
need to
picture,
let
bro.
me finish. You need to let me finish. I mean,
Well, no,
this is a
finish.
show.
Okay, go ahead.
This is a live show. It's like for everybody, okay? And it's me and Christian, so it's like I understand like sometimes it can be annoying, right? But just give me the time, okay, to say it. The reality is that it's like I could come up with scenarios that are like 10, 100, a million times worse than what I just told you, right? And the reality is that if God were to tell you to do it, in your worldview, is by definition that thing would be good and would be moral.
Yes.
Right? And obviously the opposite of you not doing that would be immoral. That's like everybody understands that. Everybody understands
Opposite
that.
of what God
But
tells you
by
would be
your
immoral. Doing what he said would be
definition,
moral. Yeah.
by your definition, the thing that God would tell you would be moral. Okay? So let's not miss our words here. It's like everybody understands exactly where you stand.
What you're doing.
Yeah, if God told you to kill your mother and make her eat her own shit, it would be good in your view.
I think he's agreed with you.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
We're kind of beating a dead horse at this point. It's like, yeah, I think he understood. I think everybody understood, right? Like everybody that will ever listen to this, like in the future, like knows exactly where his morality stands, right? It's like we get it.
Yeah, well, the idea that your subjective morality somehow supersedes literally the creator of the idea that you have a better idea of what you ought to do compared to fucking God. I don't have subjective morality either. I don't know why you keep saying that.
No, you do.
Daniel,
I literally said.
No, but
yeah,
you do
what
because
God
it's dependent
says.
on the mind. You already catched that out. But you
Daniel,
do
can you
subjective.
go
It's
into
not
what your
subjective
morality
on the mind. What do you mean? Whose mind is it subjective on? It's not subjective on my mind.
Yeah, well, subjectivism
God's
is a
mind.
metaethical view. It just makes a very simple basis of
God is
what it means to.
Objective. There's only one God, and we know who he is. There's only it's objective.
Maybe you make yourself.
It's not like I made up. It's not like I made
follow.
up my own God, and he's making his own rules, and like the person next to me can just have their own rules because he has his own. Like that's not how it works.
Wait, Tom, is define subjectivism?
Daniel,
Subjective.
Daniel, out of
means
curiosity,
it's dependent- hold on. Subjective and objective. Objective means like independent of who's observing it. It's the same. Subjective means it can change depending on how
you're
you
a bit
observe
confused on the definition of subjective and objective.
No,
like they're very simple definitions.
Yeah.
Subjective just
on the
means
observer, right?
no. Subjective just means is mind dependent, and objective means it's mind independent, right? So it's like whenever you have something that is independent of a mind, that thing is objective, right? Whenever you have something that is dependent on a mind, then that thing is subjective. In your case, because your morality depends on God's mind, okay? Because you said it's like whatever God says
and it's subjective.
It's moral, right? God has to say it. In order to say it, he needs to think it, so he has to have a thought, right? So it's like whenever he does that, he doesn't. So God doesn't think. Okay.
God doesn't have
is
to
God
think,
purely
that
mechanistic in that case, or how
God
is your
can do
mind?
anything he wants to? God is all powerful. I don't know how many more times I have
I don't. But again, it's like
I
I'm
thought we already went over earlier
that
God he thinks in all sorts of ways. He has desires. He has agency. He what was the other thing? He values things. Those are all
but I guess the point that I'm trying to say, right, is that when God commands us to do something, that command is objective. That command was something he actually gave that actually happened.
Yeah.
So regardless of all this, so regardless of what you're saying about minds, like I don't really fully understand what the relevance of that is, because like him saying
not relevant. It's a very technical definition.
Like I don't care. Like God's
right. So all we have to do is just be like, so it's subjective morality. But now let's just talk about what the morality is.
God is all good, so what he says is good. That's what the morality is.
How do you know that?
That's fine.
Right. Yeah,
but as long as it is that like what makes things good is what God commands, what he thinks, what he decides, what he promotes, what he values. It's going to make it subjective morality. It's no big deal, to be honest. It could still be that morality is subjective, comes from God, and it's the most important thing ever that we follow it. That could still be the case.
Okay, actually, no, I see what you're saying. I'll concede. Okay, I understand what you're saying now. That doesn't really negate God being real, though, or something. Like, what's the bigger point of what you're trying to say?
It's a very minor thing.
Yeah, but what's the bigger point? Because I'm kind of past that now. I understand.
I mean, because you kind of, so the moment you say that God is good, right? Whatever God says is good and moral, then it's like you have like a definition which cannot be actually tested by any other means, right? Because it's like whatever God tells you is going to be moral, right? So there is no, there's nothing that I could present to you, no scenario, right? no matter, it's like if anybody in the world would think that's like atrocious, right? So it's like if God were to to command you to commit genocide, you would do it, despite that, we say genocide is a bad thing, right? It's like you would still do it because you say, oh, well, that's a good thing because God told me to do it, right? So that's the problem. The problem is like you don't have a metric by which to actually see, oh,
Okay.
wait, is God good or not?
Yeah.
Right? How
Yeah.
do you
It makes
how
it
do you
arbitrary.
decide?
Here's the thing.
Just a second?
I wanted to say this earlier.
Okay, Thomas,
Yeah,
Thomas,
and-
just a
and
second.
also-
Please let me finish.
I
Just
wanted.
let me
There's
finish.
something I wanted to say earlier.
Yeah, so
that,
the thing is, it's like, I don't care if somebody says, oh, that guy is like the best guy ever, right? I don't care if somebody told me that guy is the best. If I see that guy doing only bad things, right? If I have a measuring stick to actually measure whether or not that guy is a good guy, that's the real thing, right?
what if he only does good things? What if he only does good things?
Well, until I'm presented with like something to the contrary,
Yeah.
I will. My provisional idea about that person is that that's a good person, which I had. This is why we trust people.
Yeah. So that's
And how does trust work?
that's
Like, for example,
essentially
because you
Yeah, but God can
look,
find. God can find
everybody
murder,
had.
for example.
Okay,
so hold on. If I can, I just want to. I've been wanting to say
I'm
this for a
trying
very
to
long
say
time.
something, and then you can say your thing.
Okay.
So
You've been
the thing
talking
is,
for a while, but go ahead.
I know it's my show. What can I do? And I like to
Yeah.
hear myself talking sometimes. So the thing
I can
is,
tell.
like,
Go ahead.
I know. It's one of my flaws. Okay. So everybody knows what trust is, right? It's like you have people you trust. What happens to trust? It just goes on, right? Until that person breaks your trust, right? And the moment they break your trust, you don't trust them anymore. And it's the same thing with this, right?
Sure.
With your scenario. If you're saying, oh, that's a good guy, well, I would believe it. He's a good guy. If I see he only does like good things, the moment I see he does bad things, I will stop believing that's a good guy.
Okay.
Go.
done?
Now you can say.
Okay, so the whole thing is that what I'm telling you about God is essentially like you're not even that far off. I'm saying, look at this good guy. You should do what he's saying. I mean, it's because he's all powerful. It's not even because he's a good guy. But like the thing about God is that he is a good guy, and like there aren't things that he does or tells us to do that aren't good. So, and this goes back to the Old Testament that I don't read the Old Testament.
Yeah, but you see where
I don't really know.
I'm gonna tell you where the problem you're having is. I'm telling you where the problem that you're having.
God doesn't tell us to do bad things.
Yeah. So
like,
in my
even
scenario,
if, like the thing with what you were saying, about the babies with the faces or whatever, like God isn't telling me to do that, so it doesn't matter. I guess it's
no,
kind
but
of
that's like the
right?
scenario, right? It's like it's a scenario because the scenario applies in this other case too, and I'm going to explain to you how it does, right? So you're telling me, well, that guy is like really good guy, right? And I watch him, right? And he does a good thing, he does another good thing, he does like 100 good things, and then he does a bad thing, and I come and tell you, like, my dude, it's like you said that's a good guy, but look, he did this bad thing, and then you're saying, well, no, you don't get it. That guy is by definition a good guy. So if he did that thing, if you think that thing is bad, no, actually it's not bad. That thing is good because that guy did it, and him by definition is a good guy. You see, so that's where the problem is, right? Because you're gonna tell me like this God, right, that you believe in, oh, he only did good things. I could probably go into the Old Testament, right, because that's the topic of tonight, and I can show you like a lot of things which are really fucking bad, right? From like genocide to like slavery to like stoning people for no reason and so on, right? And you're gonna say, no, you don't get it. Those things are actually good. And the reason they're good is because you don't understand the mind of God. But actually, God doesn't have a mind because, if I say he has a mind, it's going to be subjective.
Wait, he's a skeptical theist?
Who?
What does he think?
Are you talking
about,
to me?
like, yeah, like,
I'm a Muslim.
talking about not in the mind of God? Wait, hold on. What is he saying? Is he like a skeptical theist?
I'm a Muslim. Not skeptical. I mean,
Daniel.
Yeah.
So I think you've made your point quite a few times now. So you don't like the idea that he is essentially a divine command theorist. I think we understand that, but he doesn't seem to have a problem with it. So I don't see what repeating the point a few times.
Well, hold on.
Well,
Isn't he
I
also a
have a
skeptical
question.
theist as well?
I have a
Judging
question though
of
for
what
you,
he just
Thomas.
said.
So, or wait, hang on. No, never mind. Yeah, because you're Muslim. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, he is a Muslim. No, I mean, it's like the reason we kept having the conversation is because I think he kind of misunderstands like this idea of like what does it mean for something to be good, right? Because that's where like the question after that came. Okay, so how do you tell if God is good? It's like could you tell if God did something that was bad, Tom Maurice? So like how could you tell if God ever did something that was bad?
That's the whole point. No, God is synonymous with good. So if God does something, it can't be bad.
Yeah, you see. So do you see the problem, or do you think there is no problem?
I've been saying this for the past half hour. Like this is
no, but do you
my
see the
position
problem?
like, no, it's not a problem. That's what good means. It means it comes
Yeah.
from God.
So what
if you don't think hold on, if you don't think God exists, obviously that's not going to make sense to you. But like God exists whether you want to believe him or not. So like the good exists. That's where it comes from.
Oh no, because I can come up with like something that's like reasonable and rational, right? And I could just say, what if this God you think is all good? He's actually not God. He's actually like Satan or like Shaitan, right? You say it in Islam, and he actually just deceived you, right? Because he's really good, right? He's really good and he's really powerful.
Daniel.
Yeah, just a second, Magnus. And he actually deceived you, right? To believe that he's all good. So that's where my question comes, right? It's like, what if he's actually not God?
Even
not
if
good,
that's
but
true,
he deceived you.
I see
how
what you're
could you
saying.
tell?
I see what you're
How
saying.
could you tell?
Yeah, like
no, I see what you're saying, and like that's a valid point. But the thing is, that doesn't even negate the point kind of that we're arguing about, though. Is that wouldn't be God, though? That wouldn't be like what you're talking about. Someone who does bad things and goes around saying they're God. That's not God. Like God doesn't do that because God doesn't do bad things. So
No,
or how would
I
you know that
understand
God
that.
deceiving
talking
you?
about that situation,
Hold on,
that's
hold on.
not addressing what we're talking about because that's not God.
No, we are.
Yeah, but how would you know
we are
that?
talking about that because you
Sorry.
believe in Allah, right? That's your God.
Yeah.
So and you believe in Allah and the Quran and everything. What if
Yep.
all the Quran, everything in there, like everything you believe about your religion and about God, is actually not about God. It's about Shaitan, right? And actually, it's Shaitan that does it. It's like, how could you ever tell, right? If he made you believe, right, and you believe in your heart, right, that everything he does is good, like everything, right, like zero bad things, just all good, right? How could you tell if that's actually Shaitan and not God?
Because God's the creator. God has properties that Satan wouldn't.
But that's not an answer. It's like I'm asking you, what
No,
is
it
your
is.
Yeah, but
God's
God
the
can
measuring
creator.
still
stick?
deceive you
And
into
I'm
thinking
talking
that.
about God. I'm talking about the unmoved mover. I'm talking about the uncreated creator. That's what I like. There's a specific thing I'm talking about. I'm not.
Is this
just,
the one you believe in?
I don't believe in God. God exists. Like you
No,
don't
no,
have to
but
believe in God. Like he's
of
there.
course you have to believe in it. It's like that's how we use
No,
our heads. It's
God's
like,
there whether or not we're here or not.
yeah, cool. It's
God
like
still
he
exists.
might be an objective thing, but it's like you still have to believe in him, right? You have to believe that he exists. Like you have to know. Maybe you know he exists. Like whatever you think, right? The
Yeah.
reality is this: like the way we interact with reality, and even with God or Shaitan or whoever else, is by using our minds, right? It's like we have our minds and we have thoughts and we get convinced of things, right? That's how it goes.
For
It
us, yes,
doesn't go
I'll
in.
agree with you about that. For
Yeah, but
humans,
and
we
now we're
understand
talking
God
about
through
us. We're not
our
talking
minds,
about anybody else, right? We're just talking about
yeah.
us
For us,
humans,
I agree
right?
with you. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
in order for you to actually, know something exists, you also have to believe that thing exists, right? So that's what it means,
Do
right?
you?
So it's like, yeah, of
Do you?
course you do. Yes.
I'm not sure about that.
You're not sure
Because here's
about
the
that?
thing: is that I don't. Well, here's the thing: is that I don't believe that I'm in Washington State right now. I know it. Like it's not it's not like you
What
could
is
do something
knowledge?
or present me some argument.
What is knowledge?
Justified true belief. Justified true belief.
Oh, so you
But
do
I'm saying
believe
that like
it.
belief. Not really though, because colloquially
Well,
when
the
I say
knowledge
believe,
it
that's
would
not
be
what
a
I'm talking
subset of belief then,
Yes.
right?
belief is something like what again colloquially when I say belief, I'm talking about something
my
that kind of
God, this is
exists like
just
almost kind of lower
derailing
than that,
now.
right? I don't
No,
feel
but
like I'm
this
derailing.
is why I
Daniel's-
asked you what
check out
knowledge
your
is.
DMs,
Daniel's
Daniel.
look,
check
look,
out your DMs.
wait, hold on,
everything
look.
I asked for.
Look, Thomas, Daniel's question was like, how would you know, for example, that God deceiving you wouldn't lead to a greater good? And you can't even say like the Quran, for example, because God might have morally sufficient reason for making believe that it's true when it's not.
I don't understand what you're asking me.
Could God deceive you?
Okay, this
Could God?
my-
Yeah,
the-
God could do everything. He doesn't deceive
yeah,
people, but he could.
yeah, his question
How do you know
was
he doesn't?
how would you know, for example, that God deceiving you wouldn't lead to a greater good? Because you're saying we don't have any epistemic access to like God's nature and things like that. Or at
You
least
could
that's
say
what I
God.
heard you
I
say
mean,
like
if you're asking, could God deceive us? And like, is there theoretically a situation where that's what's happening right now?
No,
Like
no. To be accurate, the question is, how would you know, for example, that God deceiving you wouldn't lead to a greater good? Right.
How would I know that God deceiving me wouldn't lead to a greater good? Because God.
Yes.
Okay, if you understand, I'm not saying you believe this, but just hang with me for 1 second. If God is good, if the word good means it comes from God, if something else does something, regardless of what it is, it's not as good as God because God is good, right? It's like if I have like the hex value for like red, like the most like red you could possibly think of, right? That like
No,
there's
but
no other red that is more red than that because like that's like what red
Phantom
is.
red.
how
It's the
does
same
this
thing with
how does
God.
this attack the
It's the
question?
same. It's
Yeah,
the
but
same
how
thing
does
with God. It's the same thing with God and good. Is that no one can do something better than God can because God is the definition of good. He is
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
but
he is
yeah,
the
this
that's
is the
reference
thing with
by
red.
what
deceive
It's
we
you.
like
like
we
say things are good or
God's
not
the
good.
holy
best at
fucking
deceiving.
yeah. Wait, hold
He's the
on.
best at
Well,
everything.
no,
He's the best at
nobody's
everything.
saying that, but yeah, but what you just said that response there isn't actually attacking the question because the question is about, um, like how would you know that God deceiving you wouldn't lead to a greater good, right? Since you're a skeptical
I
theist and
just
you
told you.
affirm the view.
What's a skeptical
No, no, no.
theist?
But the point is,
what
no.
what
But the
is
point
that?
is, yeah. But your response didn't even attack the question, though.
Okay, first off, I don't even know what you mean when you say skeptical theist. Number two, I said it as clearly as like I don't want to say it again because there's other people here who already heard it. Like I answered the question pretty directly. Like God is good. If God does something, it is good. There's no one just like you can't make a redder red than the reddest possible red. You can't make something greater or more good than
Yeah.
God. You
So
cannot do it.
if God deceives you, it's good.
Yeah.
and it's like and there's no way you could tell, right?
If God deceives us, that is good. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a way he could do it such that we wouldn't know. Correct. But even then, like I said, if God's doing it, like
And
our
God could
judgment
also
about it
be
kind of doesn't matter at
evil,
that
and
point.
because he deceived you, there's no way
No,
for you to
God
know
cannot
it.
be evil. God cannot be evil, my friend. What is the opposite of good?
I mean, evil.
Not
Yes.
good.
Evil. If God
Yeah.
is all good, how is he all evil at the same time?
How do you
I
know
mean,
he's all good?
he's all powerful.
Yeah, what
It's
if he's
like
just
are
not
you
all
telling
good?
me that God cannot do something? What?
He could no,
Is
he
God
has
not all
the
powerful?
ability. Nope. He has the ability to be all evil, but he isn't.
How do you
Oh,
know
how do you
God is
know
all
that?
Again, this
good?
goes back.
How do
This
you know
goes back
that?
to the Ethiopia thing.
No, I
I
get
have
it.
the
I get it.
ability
How
Well,
do
to
you
it
be
know
depends
that?
evil.
if
How do
well,
you
it depends
know?
if he's
Ability to
saying
be
it's a
evil, but he isn't.
necessary
Hold
property.
on.
How do you know
Do you think
Israel.
that by omnipotent, do you mean that
Yeah,
like God
you can
can
have
only do things
necessary.
logically possible?
You can have the ability. Anything can have the ability to do all sorts of things that it
No,
doesn't
I
do.
get it. I get it. But
What
how
you're
do you
saying
know?
doesn't make
How do you
sense.
know in your scenario? How do you know God is not in Ethiopia?
How do I know that God isn't in Ethiopia?
Yeah.
God is outside of the universe, and Ethiopia is within the universe.
It was, dude. Okay.
Yeah, you're
You
saying
do
God
you
is
understand
atemporal.
you do
I answered
understand
your
it was
question.
you do no no you do understand that it was like I was using a metaphor, right?
No, I didn't. I thought you were asking me a question. What are you saying?
No, it's like because you said because you referenced your earlier question about Ethiopia, right? It's like because you can have the possibility, the ability to live in Ethiopia, but you don't, right? What I'm asking you is like in this scenario, because you said God can also do evil things, right?
Wait,
Because
hold on.
God is
Sorry.
all powerful, right? But you're saying God
My
is
internet,
not doing evil things, right? So how do you
my
know
internet,
God is not doing evil things?
my internet cut out. I didn't hear your whole question. You're asking how do I know that God isn't doing evil things?
Yes.
Oh my God. Again, God is good.
Because
He's all
God
good.
is good.
It's within his essence. It's within his nature to be
Yeah,
all
because maybe
good.
he's gonna
And
How do
say
you
therefore, he
know?
can't do
whatever
something
we
that's evil
find.
necessarily, right?
Yeah, but we already agreed with the fact that God could deceive you, right? And if God could
Yes.
deceive you, and also make sure that you have no way to know that you're being deceived, God
Yeah.
could literally be evil and actually be deceiving you that is good, right?
No. Even then, no. He wouldn't be. He couldn't be evil necessarily
Right? Is that a
because he's all good.
logical proposition?
Yeah, it's the law of non-contradiction. You can't be something and not be it at the same time.
No. What is the
You can't
contradiction?
be good and
No, but he's not affirming God is
Hold on,
good
wait.
and
The
evil at the
contradiction
same time.
that God. No, he is because God is good all the time. So if he's evil
No,
sometimes, he can't
but
do
he's
that,
negating the
right?
fact that God is no, he's negating the fact that God is good and saying that like
Yeah, I
how do you
didn't say
know that
God is
God
good at
That's
all.
isn't
not, hold on. If
deceiving
you're
you?
talking
Yeah,
about
he's saying how do you know that God is deceiving to be good, but he's actually
if you're
evil.
talking talking about something that's not good, then you're not talking about God. You're talking about something else. You
Yeah,
talk about a
but
deceiver.
remember, it's like he deceived you into thinking that he's good, right? So you, in
Wait,
your
but
mind, with your thoughts,
He
your
didn't.
thoughts
No,
are
he
telling
could
you
deceive
that
me.
he
He
is.
could.
Just a second, man. Just listen to the end. He deceived you, and you think, right? Like totally think, and you're like absolutely 100% convinced of this, that God
Yeah.
is all good. But actually, you know what? He's actually a deceiver, and he's actually not all good. He's actually all evil, right? But he actually deceived you into thinking that he's the opposite of what it is. How could you tell?
Yeah, but the question is like, how do you know that he is good?
Exactly.
Why do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, we already went through that, but he just defines God being good into existence, right? And it's like he thinks that if you define something into existence, that thing actually exists. The reality is that we don't do that with definitions. Definitions are not prescriptive; they're descriptive, right? So if I tell you something is a dog, and when I look at it, when you look at it, you say, "Dude, that's not a dog. That's a fucking iguana." And I'm telling you, no, you don't get it. It's like I define that thing to be a dog, right? Because I just define like whenever I point to you at something and I'm telling you that's a dog, it's by definition a dog, right?
If that
That's
was
not
an
how it
iguana,
works.
that would contradict the definition of dog.
Exactly. It cannot be an iguana
Wait,
because
no,
I
it
told you
wouldn't.
it's a dog.
Definitions aren't even.
Yeah.
Bruh. Do you think that definitions are like true fact?
What are you asking? You just talked for a
Yeah,
long
you're
time.
talking
what
about
exactly
it
are you asking me?
contradicting definitions, and I just asked the person that said that if they take definitions to be either like stipulative or like truth apt.
I mean, I don't
Out
know
of
if you're
curiosity.
asking
I don't.
that. I
I'm,
just
I'm
said they're
not even
descriptive.
really. I'm not really following where you're going with like what.
Well, how do you argue with someone who defines God as evil?
They're not. I mean, if someone defines God as evil, then I would just correct them and say that they're not talking about God. That what
No,
they're
you're not talking
describing.
about. They'll just say you're not talking about God because God
No.
is evil. You can't be talking about God.
Yeah, but if
He's
God,
not
if
evil.
you agreed that God can deceive and you can never know, like what's stopping somebody from saying that like
Saying
God can
okay, if
deceive you?
someone, I'll use this in the language of what you were just talking about. Someone talking to me about God and explaining God doing evil things and like characterizing God as evil, that would be the same thing as if someone's talking to me about a dog and in their description, they said that it's
Bruh.
like cold-blooded and it has like scales and
Bruh.
like you bought it at the lizard store.
Oh, so it's like you
Right.
have to actually do the definition fully, right? So when you mean
I know. I'm saying that would be my.
but you see, this
Someone
is
talking about an evil
precisely
God,
what I was telling
that's
you.
like talking about a dog with scales. It's
No,
like
cool.
that makes
But
as
like
much
for
sense.
example,
Yeah.
when you say God is good, it's like we ask you, okay, so what is the definition of good? Do you have a definition of good?
He
Yeah, what
doesn't
God
need
tells you
one.
to
You
do.
can just view it to be a semantic primitive, and
What
you
God
can still
tells you to do.
discuss it that way.
That's what good
So
is. God
it's a
is good.
circular definition, right? Basically.
God is there's the
and God
most
is
important
good, and
three-word
good
tautology
means
of all time.
yeah. So
God
it's like
is
God
good.
is good,
Good
and
is
good
God.
is
God
what
is
God
good.
tells you to do. So
God
you know
is
what
good.
God is, and God is good because good is what
No,
God
but I'm not
is.
even saying. Yeah, I'm not even sure saying like he needs a definition of good or bad is like meaningful here. I mean, he's
Well, I
already
mean,
cashed out that he's gonna be a divine
is
command.
in a ways like you should have like so whenever you're saying.
I don't think so.
Well, it kind of is, right? Because it's like if you're saying something is
What if he
good,
views?
Any
yeah,
what if
other
he
saying
views
something
good
is
and
any
good,
bad
other
to be like?
would you
any
have
other
like a
definition
way
of
of
good.
telling whether or not
What
something
if?
is good?
Any
Well,
other
yeah, like yeah.
any
What if
other
he says
definition
that
of
good and
is
bad
just
are?
something you're just making up. Like
But you're making
Yeah,
up that he's
God is
good.
good.
Dude,
That's the
holy
only like
fucking shit.
objective
You're
definition
just
of good.
prescribing that.
Every
You're not-
other.
It's not a
What do you mean
description of
objective
God.
definition? Oh my fucking god. Yeah, look. So
No,
let's
'cause
say
if
he
I-
views good and
if
bad.
you-
Wait,
Yeah, go ahead.
look, slow down there. Look, just relax there for a second.
good,
Let's
you're
say
good.
he says, yeah. Let's say he says, for example, good is gonna be a semantic primitive, right? It's sort of like irreducible, right? It's very hard for him
It
to
is
like
just-
define what good means or something, right? It can still be discussed. You can just take like an intuitive account of good and bad, right?
Not really, no.
What do you mean not? Yeah,
Because
I mean,
you're still
'cause
even then you're still kind of pointing to
do you
God.
do it? Do you do it
You
when
just
you
don't
use
really have
words
the
like the?
vocabulary
Wait,
to
hold
say
on.
it, right?
Do you do it? Okay. Do you do what I just said when you use words like the? And when you use words, the off the top of your head, you can't really define, but you sort of have an
No, I can define.
intuition of
I can
what, like,
define the is like a word you use before a noun or before like some sort of like designation or
yeah,
something.
look, okay, oh my god, jeez, yeah, look, the point is, you can have like a,
Wait.
a SP
Okay, so
account of
hang on.
good
So
and
in that
bad.
You
that
asked me to
definition you
define
give,
God,
what
I
hang
defined
on.
God, and then
Well, one more question. What is
I was like a singular, like a singular designation for something,
is
like a tree
singular?
or it could be or an, depending on if the word you're using
What are
starts
we
with a
doing
vowel.
right
Right.
now?
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
no, I
He's
think
just
this is all
making up,
useless too. But
grammar.
Yeah, I think
that
what
was
he's
just to
doing
highlight
is
that
just
there is
saying.
such thing
I
as a
think
semantic prime. And
Well, no,
but like,
because
just
like
if that's
any,
if
well,
that's
hold on, like
on the
any
table,
word,
then just go with
literally
that.
any
Just be
word.
charitable.
Any word that you
Yeah.
could give me right now, I could point to a definition, which like this goes back to Plato and forms. But like
Jesus
I
Christ.
can point to the form, right? I can point to like the idea of
Well, I
it. I
feel
can't
like the
necessarily
Old
articulate that, but
Testament
like
was a little legit, but the New Testament is kind of fucked up.
no, that's the whole thing, is that the form of God is good. Like that's like, so when you are talking about something that's good, like that's what you're pointing at. Even if you don't have the vocabulary to articulate that appropriately, like you're
Is
still
it like
the issue. Okay,
water?
let me just highlight
I'm
an
saying
issue.
the New
Okay?
Testament is
Because
kind of racist to black
there
people.
isn't an issue when there is a semantic primitive, right? The issue is when we like have to, let's say, lean back onto the notion that something is a semantic primitive. We are hoping that the other person also accepts this primitive and they have some notion of it. Because if they don't, and we're bottoming out at whatever level, and the other person has no intuition about what this bottoming out level, like the primitive is, then we're shit out of luck. We can't communicate. So when you try to explain something through, and you bottom out a semantic primitive to like I don't know Krishan when he was asking you what is an you hope that he has a notion of what is, because if he doesn't, and you just say well it's a semantic primitive, and it just tells you I don't know what that means, then you're both just gonna shrug and just not be able to have a conversation. So to bring it back to the good, if the essence of the conversation is in and of itself a semantic primitive, then the conversation never took off to even fail because it never started.
You can have an intuition of what a word means and not define it. Is that what you're like disagreeing on? Is that where like the dispute is
Are you
at?
asking me?
Yeah.
no, I don't. That's not what we disagree about at all. Because
My
definitions,
what I'm
like
disagreeing
all the
on.
definitions are just like a codified way, like a codified meaning of a word.
Look, man, it's
Like
fine.
definitions don't even really
There's
give
no
words meaning.
problem.
They're just kind of like after the fact.
There is no problem to have a definition, right? And there is no problem to have a semantic primitive. And there is no problem to appeal to some intuition about a word instead of defining it all the way ad infinitum. The problem is when the thing you're trying to talk about with somebody is itself a semantic primitive, and the somebody doesn't have a notion or intuition or idea of what you mean by semantic primitive, there is no the communication is gone. There is no communication, right?
No, Chester. Who's speaking? Chester? That's just the nomenclature of the wording, right? But we're
Okay,
all
let's
talking.
get back. Southcat, no, not in this chat. No, I'm sorry. It's like I'm gonna ruin the show. So let's get back to it.
Do you understand my point? I think that's the. I mean,
Yeah,
correct me if I'm
I
wrong, like
I
Krishan and
understand
Daniel,
your
but like
point,
that's
but
the
my
issue
point
that
was
they're
saying
having.
we can still discuss them.
No, you can't. Absolutely not. No.
No, I'm saying you can have specific cases where both parties agree that it's a semantic primitive and still discuss
Well,
it
I mean,
without
maybe
actually
because look,
defining it
and
and
this
go
is
off like
why like
intuitions and
talking
things like
about
that.
yeah, but this is why talking about just like the definition and everything is like sometimes it gets a bit moot, right? And that's why I feel like the best thing to do is to go to examples, okay? And that's why when I don't know if you were here, Chester, right? I asked him, okay, he said that God is good, right? So everything God tells you to do is by definition moral. And I asked him, okay, so we're gonna need to take this thing to an extreme, right? So it's like we need to get to some example, right? So what if, right? What if God told you to go to the nearest school and just peel the faces of all the preschoolers at that school, and
Yeah, it
then
would be good.
you wear one like every day, right? And when you're done with them, with every one of them,
Yeah,
you just
something
use them as a
horrible. You don't have to.
wallpaper. Yeah,
You
as a
don't have to
wallpaper
paint
for
it
your
vividly,
house, right?
Daniel. It's just
Well, I mean,
something horrible.
I think it needs
I
to. I
get
think
it.
it needs to because
that's
we're
the
talking about morality, right? And it's like,
No,
and
just
the
say something
question,
bad, and I'm with you. I'm
yeah,
with you.
and then
It's fine.
the question then comes, okay, is that moral? Was that a moral
Yeah.
command, right? So, and I think that's for the vast majority of the people on this planet, right? I think they would actually disagree, right? Including Muslims. I don't think most Muslims would say, yeah, that would be good if God told me to do that, right? I think it's like there's a level, no matter whether or not it's like you have like objective morality
following their
or subjective
religion correctly, they
morality.
would.
Yeah, I know it's no true Scotsman. I get it. The thing is like everybody kind of has like an understanding. Well, you know what? Like this thing is bad, right? Like this thing, yeah, it's not good, right? So if God, or the thing that I believe is God, would tell me to do it, I would just be like, wait a second. Maybe this thing is not God, right? Maybe this thing is not the source of morality because this thing they just told me to do, that's like atrocious. It's like, that's not good. That's not moral.
I mean, surely your judgment that like depends on the presupposition that God isn't, or the entity that you're like believing to be God isn't the source of morality, nebulous and all as that phrase is.
Well, I mean, as I said, it's like
it seems
if
to be,
you're saying
it seems
it
to
is
like
the source of morality.
It seems to be begging the question to say that, oh, if God commanded X, I would find X like God wouldn't be the source of morality.
Wait, what?
Like your moral repugnance already depends on you rejecting God as the source of morality.
No, but what I'm saying is, because you could think there's such a thing as a God that is like all good, right? And that is like the source of all morality. That's fine. But I think you should also understand that, if the entity you believe is God, because you might be mistaken about that. Like God could literally exist, and you could still have like Descartes' demon that is deceiving you, right? You have Shaitan just that's deceiving you into believing that he's actually God and he's all good and everything he tells you is all good, right? I feel it's like you come to certain points where it's like if he tells you to do a certain thing, you would kind of like stop in your tracks a bit and say, wait a second, this shit sounds kind of crazy. It's like
100%.
Maybe this thing that I believe in is actually not God, right? Maybe I shouldn't
Just to
actually
respond
do
to
it.
you.
Again, this goes back to what you're saying about the Old Testament and the binding of Isaac. Is that Abraham went through that? Abraham was like going back and forth with himself, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, why am I going to kill my only son? And then he still did it because that's how strong his
Oh yeah, I mean, people are gullible. Yes, no, I agree with you. It's like people are gullible. They're easily being deceived by whatever. It's like if people, I mean, I don't know if he actually rationalized it. I think he just believed that, and also
through it. That's the whole point.
When I'm talking about the Old Testament, for example, and I'm talking about like how immoral God is in the Old Testament, and I think this applies to Christian too, not just me. The binding of Isaac is kind of like the last thing that I will probably talk about because that's kind of like the least amount of bad things, right? Like from the Old Testament.
I think that's actually like a pretty decent one, to be honest, just in terms of like the betrayal that happens there.
Yeah, but there's so many other things like way worse.
Yes, I agree.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's still bad.
Times where he tells people to kill people, and then he didn't say at the very last second, "Wait, don't do it."
Yeah. Apparently, only Isaac.
He just let him do it.
Jephthah, God didn't say, "Oh, don't kill your daughter." That's the time when God said, "Yeah, it's fine. You can sacrifice your daughter."
Aren't all the instances in the Old Testament of God commanding people to death and stuff like that? Aren't they all? Again, not justified as far as you'd think so, but like, isn't there like a justification behind it? Like the Amalekites are the prime example. But I'm pretty sure the Amalekites like did something that like kind of warranted someone doing something back to them.
That's true. Right? Do you think Jeffrey Dahmer had justifications for when he was doing the things he was doing?
I think his brain was fucked up, and he did it because he was a
homosexual. That wasn't my question, though, right? My question was, do you think he had any justifications?
No, I'd say he
probably
had reason for it.
I
don't think.
Right?
No, I don't think he thought what he.
No, we know he did this because he was like.
No, he didn't think what he was doing was morally right. He knew that it was wrong. He knew that it was like morally wrong. That's why he like.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, because he wanted to get off. That's why he did it. I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's a justification.
He understood.
When Hitler did, when Hitler did what he did, he had justifications. When Pol Pot did what he did, he had so having a justification.
What are you saying?
No.
What's the point of this?
Being able to justify, right, for yourself the act that you're doing doesn't mean that the act that you're doing is good.
Yeah, that's why you need to appeal to God. I agree.
No, that's why you need to like have a good moral standard by why you're doing something.
What's your moral standard? Because you haven't actually given yours yet. All you've been doing is criticizing mine.
I mean, it's like my moral
Like,
standard is
what is
telling
good?
me
What is good? What does good mean?
not peeling the faces of preschoolers and wearing them and then
Why?
using them as a wallpaper.
What if I want to? What if
Oh,
that makes
it's
me
just
feel?
true
What if I
because
feel
it's
warm
true.
and fuzzy? What if I feel warm and fuzzy in my stomach?
No, you don't get it.
In my heart when I do that.
That's moral because it's moral. It's by definition.
No, but I'm saying that, like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying too. It's by definition moral.
Or kill people. Why shouldn't I do that?
No, it's by
because it's
definition
immoral.
moral. That's
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
You seem to not be tracking well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you understand? It's like you're saying your justification is because God told you so, and God is moral, and the same goes for me, right? I can use the same thing you're using without changing anything, and you would have no way of saying that I'm wrong.
No, because you're not
Because
appealing to God. You're just making shit up.
So
Wait,
what?
okay, Thomas, I think I can elaborate on this point a little bit better. David is saying, suppose I am a theist, I can still use the same argument. I can say, well, what if murdering preschoolers and hanging them on my walls makes me feel warm and fuzzy? And you're going to go, well, oh, God says no. And I'd be like, okay, I don't care. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy. You can say, oh, well, God will punish you. And I can say, well, I perceive the enjoyment I'm going to get is more than the suffering I'm going to go through in hell, and so on. If your point is going to be, like, ought isn't strong enough, that merely having a fact that we ought not to do X isn't strong enough to not do X, this is like equally incumbent under the theistic account as the atheistic account.
How?
There's no there's no extra grounding that brings you from like stance independency to stance dependency. Not that I think aughthood doesn't ground stance independency.
Isn't the whole atheist perspective though is that we don't need to rely on someone outside of our subjective human understanding for right and wrong, right? That we can kind of make those up ourselves, essentially.
It's not really true. You can be an atheist and be a moral realist. I'm an atheist and a moral realist.
Same.
A lot of
so
own
is
philosophers of meta-ethics are atheists and moral realists.
But I'm saying if it doesn't come from God, then where does it come from besides
It can
just
be
other
like
people?
a brute fact about the universe.
Yeah.
Nature.
But remember,
in the same way that I believe that the law of identity is like metaphysically necessary without being grounded in theism.
And remember, Thomas, like we went over earlier, that actually, if morality did come from God, it wouldn't be objective. That's not what we're talking about when we're talking about objective morality.
I feel like God is the most objective, because here's the thing: is that, like, as far as just the brute facts of the universe go, it's completely irrelevant whether or not I kill 20 children or not. Like, gravity is still going to exist
that's
if I do that. The sun is still going to rise in the morning. Gravity's still like.
Okay, but you ought not to do that. That's
why
how moral facts work.
If God doesn't tell me, then why? So here's the thing.
Can you let me finish?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
So moral facts take the how do you say, the syntax, we ought to do X or we ought not to do X. Asking why we ought to do what we ought to do is like a pseudo question. It's like asking why is 10 pounds heavier than 5 pounds, because 10 is bigger than 5. It's a pseudo question. You're saying, oh, well, ought isn't enough grounding. Of course, that's a pseudo question to presume that we need some extra grounding to justify where we ought to do what we ought to do. But my point is, this still stands under a theistic account. You can say, oh, well, God says you should do X under my theistic account. That still doesn't give me any more stance-independent reason, again, under your account to do X. I could just ignore what God says and do Y. And you can be like, oh, well, God will punish you. And I can say, well, I'll still ignore it and do Y. Your whole account here, that like ought statements aren't enough to ground action, that they have no, no bearing, no weight, nothing of that sort on our actions, is equally incumbent upon your account as mine. Aside from being just flat out wrong. Wait, why didn't you think it is?
Well, no, because when you're asking me why something is good or why we ought to do something, if you ask me why we ought to do something, it's because God commanded us to. Like, that's the end of it. If I ask
why does that mean I ought to do something?
Because God is the most powerful. God made us.
Okay, why is His power relevant to what I should do? Why can't what if it like makes me really, really happy? It makes me feel really powerful to skin infant children and like hang their skin on my walls. You could say, oh, well, God's really powerful. He might stop you. Okay, that doesn't give me any reason to stop doing what I'm doing.
I mean, at that point, if you really don't care, then I think that's why we have. This is kind of going off the point, but that's why we have like police and stuff like that, right?
That's like equally incumbent. It's equally incumbent upon my account when you said, "Why ought I not skin infant babies?" Even though you can like establish that there's a moral fact, some brute.
Because you see what the issue is here, Thomas, is like you tomorrow could have like this vision in your head right? From like schizophrenia or whatever, and you think it's from God, and God tells you to do that, and we are going to have police and other people that are going to stop you from doing that, right? Because like everybody around you will say, well, that's really bad and it's not good and it's immoral, and they will stop you, right? Like it doesn't matter like if you're like this deceived, in your mind from whatever disease you have, in order to be willing to do those things. We as a society will stop you from doing that, right? Like whenever you try to do it and is anybody is there that is able to stop you, they will stop you, right? And us as a society, we have we have made like ways, for us to actually stop those things from happening. Even if you think it's just the most moral thing you could do in your life, we are going to stop you from doing that.
Fair enough. That's honestly, that's fair enough. I guess kind of the bigger question at that point is that what should determine what should be the things that are and aren't acceptable in a polite society, which I think just kind of just kicks the can down the road of like, I would say it's because God says we should do something. And like, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Like you can answer like what would kind of be that for you, but like, besides just like, I have a gun, don't do it.
Well,
Like,
I think
I
human
understand that
flourishing
that
is
works for
always good, right?
that worked for like the schizophrenic guy throwing rocks at you. Like I get it, but like, for most, like, for most people, you kind of have to, it has to be a little deeper than that, right?
But here's why that's maybe not the best system, Thomas, is, we're going about our day, we're all having a great time at the park, and then we come across, a man, and he's skinning the faces off babies and sewing them into coats or whatever and wallpaper. And so we have a couple options here. Should we think about how people are affected by the situation? Should we think about what we want the good outcomes to be for people? Should we think about well-being? Should we think about flourishing? Or should we think about what God wants? Like, I think it would be so bizarre to me.
About the Old Testament, everything you just said about, helping people and like benevolence and flourishing and all this stuff, like most of that comes from like the Old Testament. Like it comes from God. Like these are things God told us to do. So like, and like the thing is, obviously at an individual level, obviously I don't like suffering. I don't like not flourishing. Fine. But like the reason that you ought not do that to other people, especially people who you don't know, right, who aren't part of your tribe or whatever, like I don't see how you can come to that absent like a higher power, absent God, because at the end of the day, like
look, there's so many like moral like look, this is not a monolith, right? It's like, yeah, you believe in your God from the Quran, that's good for you. The reality is there's like a lot of moral systems. And I would even argue that, whenever you say you have a moral system that is derived from like a holy book or like a religion, I don't think that's a system, because those things are like kind of like written in stone. They're unchangeable because, usually the God that told them is unchangeable, right? Like moral systems only come from human beings, right? Because that's how we change. That's why it's like at some point we believe that slavery is good.
Why does that matter? Why does...
I'm explaining to you right now, right? It's like at some point in time we believe that slavery is good, and now we don't anymore, right? Because we saw, well, actually, slavery has only negative.
Some of us digress.
Well, like most of us, right? It's like the reality is like when you're looking at like the effects of slavery and that it has on all humanity, right? Including the slave owners, not just the slaves, right? It's all bad. It's all shit, right? So it's like we understood that slavery is not a good thing, right? And then other things, not just slavery, like a load of other things, right? And we keep changing and we keep understanding more and more about reality, about ourselves as a species and as societies, and we keep changing, and hopefully we keep getting better and better. The reality is that with religious morality, those things don't only change from within; they only change from without, right? Like Christianity was changed by the Enlightenment, right? That the Enlightenment, like that's what came and took Christianity from the Dark Ages and pulled it into the modern era, where they're like a lot more progressive, let's say, right? A lot more tolerant than they used to be. Right, and probably the same thing will happen with Islam at some point in time, right? It's like with Islam,
it's actually the other way around.
Like a lot of the
Renaissance ideas came from like Golden Age Islamic scholars. It's actually, I was about to say something about that.
Yeah, I know. I'm very well aware of that. I'm very well aware of that.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is true. And I was literally about to say that. I was about to say it's like how, it's like if you are like a Christian or a Jew, like, in during the golden age of Islam was the best place to live in, right? By far, like not even close, by any standard. Right? Why? Why? Because of tolerance, because of like a lot of things, like because people in those days understood things a bit better. But then Islam changed. Again, it didn't really come from within. It also came from like without, right? Because you had the Mongol invasion, and things kind of like radically changed, and you had like a few people that took kind of like the power in Islam and kind of changed Islam, right? By appealing to what? By appealing to the book, by appealing to like a very strict interpretation of the book, right? Like a very fanatical and extremist interpretation of the book. And these things happen all the time with religions, all the time, right? It's very easy for me to justify anything I want to do by using a holy book, because I can just take it, I can just peruse it, and I can find a verse, I can find a place in that book that will definitely justify the things that I want to do. It doesn't matter if
that's not true. No, that might be, and this, I'm glad you said that. And that, like, with the Bible, the thing with the Bible is that the most like well-read biblical scholar alive doesn't have the Bible memorized. Like, it's so big, and depending on who you are, there's different books that like it doesn't have. The thing about the Quran is it's not like that. The Quran is pretty small, and it's not even supposed to be a book. It's an oral.
It's small, but it's not that small. It's like 600 pages. It's still smaller than the Bible. I agree with you.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the idea that you can just go in your Quran and like flip through and in earnest find something that just justifies whatever the fuck you want to do. Like,
it's
that's
about
not true.
interpretation. This is what I'm telling you. You're saying like those things that are written down.
You can wrongly interpret the Quran. Like, Shias wrongly.
Did I tell you that I'm doing that in like while trying to be honest? No, that was my point. My point is,
well, if you're not being honest, you can do whatever the hell you want to.
Yeah, of course. Like, but it's so easy when you're using a holy book. You understand? Because then you will have the ultimate justification.
If you're an atheist,
then you will have the ultimate justification of actually using
in the
God.
United States. If you're an atheist lawyer in the United States, you probably do all sorts of unethical things to make more money. Like, you can just make that up. Like, what's your point?
Wait, what parts of like a lawyer's job are unethical exactly?
Not in and of itself, nothing necessarily, but
what unethical things do you think they do, like generally as a group?
I mean, I know lawyers have like this.
Okay, what do you think they do? Like, especially
let me give you
you brought them up.
Let me give you a perfect example. You can look this up if you don't believe me. Hillary Clinton, when she was a lawyer, it was something horrible. Like, a girl got like raped at a bus stop or something. Like, it was horrible. And she defended the guy who did it, and he either got no jail time or he got he got like some ridiculously low sentence. And the reason for that was because
charged with the crime.
Yeah, it was in court. You can look this up. You can look up Hillary Clinton lawyer rapist.
Why are we arguing this? Why are we trying to defend the point that lawyers can do pretty bad shit? This is pretty obvious.
Honestly,
I don't think it's a bad thing to like offer defense.
I was responding to something
no
that
who they are, but okay.
Oh yeah, I was saying. I remember what I was saying, because like, you can be an incredibly ethical lawyer that actually helps people and like gives people millions of dollars that have been wronged by people, and that's like a good thing. The thing is, just like a lawyer, if they decide to be unethical,
can I ask you something, Thomas? Can I ask you something?
Dude, I want to.
Yeah, I know, but this is going to cut like so like deep into this because I don't really want to talk about lawyers, right? So it's like I want to talk about like God and
I said something, and I'm clarifying what I said. Just like you can be a lawyer and use the legal system to do good or to do bad, you can look at religion, and if you want to do something bad, and if that's your preoccupation, that's what you fundamentally want to do, you can do bad and just make some retarded explanation for it that doesn't make sense.
Okay, so do you think Hillary Clinton, when she defended that guy, do you think that guy had the right to a defendant, to an attorney that is actually going to defend him?
In the United States, yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean, it's in most Western countries, right? Like that's one of the things.
Morally, he doesn't. But
it's like we're not talking about the morals right now.
Yeah,
we're talking about the law. Legally, people have the right. Legally,
what's the argument that he's morally not entitled to defense?
We don't need to go there. What I'm saying is, it's like that bringing up what lawyers do in order to defend their clients. Right, unless that lawyer does something that is unethical, and for this thing, there's actually ethic boards, right? So it's like if anybody says, oh man, that guy probably did something that was unethical in defending his client, then that person is going to be investigated, right? If you're going to find ways which are like legal ways to defend your client, then I'm sorry, but that's something that's exactly what you're supposed to do as an attorney, right?
So wait, do you think that Monsanto is ethical? Because everything Monsanto
I'm
does
not
is
saying
completely
Monsanto
legal.
is ethical.
Well, no,
Monsanto
you
is
are.
clearly
You
unethical.
are, because everything
No,
they do
because
is
we're
legal.
not talking
Everything
about
they do is legal.
Monsanto. But
they're not doing anything unethical by your definition.
Again, it's like
because they do
I don't-
everything the legal way.
Oh my god, dude!
Like what?
No,
I'm
it's
saying
like
that a lawyer
had.
can do any number of things that are unethical.
We're
Just
not
because they're
talking
legal
about whether
doesn't
Monsanto. I
mean
think
that they
they're
are
being
bad
ethical,
to do, right?
You understand? It's like we're talking about the lawyer that defends.
You're
them.
like confused on this point, Thomas.
It's like you're really confused about
Hume
this whole
isn't
thing.
making an equivocation between legality and ethicality. Hume is just like making a generalized point about the application of ethics standards to individual lawyers.
Okay.
So yeah, going back to the more important thing, which I said earlier, right? It's like there's no thing that I couldn't justify using a book, right? And that's why, for example, when in when they started the genocide in Gaza, what did they use to kind of justify those things? Like a lot
the
of them,
Amalekites.
they used the Bible, right? Did they use the Holy Book? Because it's easy. Not because you couldn't have any other. It's like you could find other justifications. Well, correct. I'm
You
not
can
saying
do
you can't.
you can do the exact same. You can do the exact same thing with any that's not a pass at the validity of the Bible or the Quran or whatever.
Well, I mean, it kind of is, right? Because
you can do the exact same thing with any other, like I said, the legal system.
Yeah,
you
but
can
it kind
be a
of
fucking
is
sovereign
because the
citizen
legal
and think that
system.
the Constitution
Yeah,
says
but
you
the
can
legal
do that,
system
right?
was not written by the omnipotent creator of the universe, right? Whereas in like these holy books, like all pretend to actually be written by the omnipotent creator of the universe or inspired by him. Okay, and when that's the case, then it's like you would expect these things to actually be a lot better, but actually they're not, right? So actually they behave exactly like any other piece of human writings ever. Would you disagree with that?
Okay. I'm not really. I didn't really follow what you just said, to be honest.
Okay.
I did just want to say real quick as a correction to him saying with Hillary Clinton, it takes 2 seconds, but she didn't, by the way, she didn't volunteer to protect that guy. He was actually appointed by the court to defend him. And she actually initially asked to be recused because she didn't want to defend him. The judge actually denied her request because she had to follow her like legal duty to as an officer of the court, she had like the moral obligation to ensure the client receives a fair trial. So she actually didn't want to do it. She even tried to recuse herself, and the judge still made her do it. So when somebody said earlier, "Oh, look at this atheist Hillary Clinton," something like wanting to defend this monster, yeah, just get your facts straight. That's all. I know that's what Fox News and a bunch of other clowns.
Yeah, that was a bad
spouted
example.
as
I'll
far,
grant,
so
I'll grant,
it was
I'll
a
grant you that.
horrible
That was a bad
example, but yeah, just make sure you get the facts straight. That's all. But go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. But I mean, no, I don't have to give you example. Like I said, Monsanto was a perfect example in my opinion.
No, that's fine.
we can definitely talk about Monsanto.
I appreciate you correcting that.
I'm saying that like you can point to the legal system and like use it to legally destroy someone's life, and like that doesn't make it like just because you're able to do that doesn't. But you're right that
look, by the way, it's like I will also like say one
thing. The
thing.
Quran are different because the Quran is eternal. The laws are temporal.
Well, obviously, like every holy book, says that it's different than any other holy book. So yeah, obviously yours is different from all the others.
Yeah.
It's like how would I know that it's actually from God? What could tell me that it's from God?
The facts of Muhammad's life indicate that he had some sort of supernatural thing going on, because a person with his level of resources in the place that he was at the time, there was no reason he should have been able to come up with the things that not come up with the things he came up with, because it was the Quran, it was given to him by God. So the idea that
you are correct.
the idea that he made up the Quran, that's just like he would have to himself be God. If he was able to do that, but he wasn't, because
so you are
God
not a Mormon. I get it, right? It's like you're not a Mormon. You're like a Muslim, right?
Definitely not a Mormon.
Yeah. So you don't believe that Joseph Smith actually came up with the Book of Mormon, right?
No, he did.
Oh,
I think
he
he did.
did?
I think Joseph Smith.
Wait a
The
second.
only
Like, Joseph
the
Smith
story.
actually came up with the Book of Mormon? No, he didn't.
Dude,
He actually
oh my
translated
God.
it with the help of the archangel, what you said, Gabriel also,
Well, no,
right?
because there's nothing.
From the
There's
golden
nothing really that
tablets.
profound. No, actually, no, because there's nothing really that profound in the Book of Mormon.
Well, did you ask any Mormons about it? Because I did, and
Yeah,
they say it's actually
I
extremely
lived in
profound.
Idaho for like 4 years. I lived around Mormons like
Yeah,
4 years.
and they all believe
They're good.
it's very profound.
No, they're good people. I just didn't talk about religion with them. They're super good people.
Yeah, but they all believe in the Book of Mormon, right?
Yeah, they're insane. Yeah.
What do you mean? They're insane.
What's special about the book? I can tell you what's special about the Quran and what's special about Muhammad's life. What's special about the Book of Mormon? Fuck did Joseph Smith do?
Well, like, first of all, like, the Book of Mormon is like way longer than the Quran, like way longer. So, like,
Yeah,
just
'cause
to
it's
think
just- it's
about
just-
this,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like the Book of like Joseph Smith was actually like his revelation from God, from the golden tablets, like beats whatever like Muhammad received from
Well, no, and
allegedly from the archangel Gabriel.
Let me give you
right?
some, as the legal community says. Let me give you some circumstantial evidence. Do you know what Joseph Smith's occupation was before he was a prophet?
I know all the things, right? But again, it's like,
Yeah, he was a
you know-
wait. He was a con man. He was a fraudster. He
well,
defrauded.
that's
people.
what you
He was
would
a
say,
scam artist.
right? If you were to ask,
No, he
Mormons,
did like petty. Like
they
I'm
would
saying,
say
before.
no, but they would say that's
before the
they would
Book
say
of Mormon
that's
happened.
bullshit.
When he was in his early 20s, he made a living like stealing people's money.
No,
like
that's
he
fake
isn't.
news.
That's
No, that's
What
fake
are you talking
news.
about?
Of course, it's fake
He got
news.
arrested for it. There's literally like
Oh no,
arrest records
some
of it
evil
in our
people,
fucking legal system.
Yeah, because
in our
look,
legal,
like
because he wasn't.
Satan,
Oh my God.
Satan knew that he was a prophet, right? So because Satan knew that he was a prophet, Satan did the whole. I mean, can you disprove me?
No, Joseph Smith could be an agent of Satan. You're entirely right. He could be.
No, he was a prophet, but Satan tried to stop him. What? Do you think that's ludicrous or something?
So you
Can
don't have any
can you
evidence
disprove
to
that?
support that.
Whoa, why
can't
do I
disprove
need
it, no.
evidence?
No, I
Why do I
can't-
need evidence?
I can't disprove it. No.
Yeah. So that's what it goes, right? That's how it goes, right? So it's like the thing he wrote.
You don't believe
way
this
bigger,
in earnest, dude.
way bigger than the.
I don't even know
Obviously,
what
I'm
we're talking
an
about at this
atheist.
point.
What I'm telling you is like you're looking at the life of Muhammad, and by the way, it's very similar to the Book of Mormon in a lot of ways, right? Like the thing that, because like, in the Quran, like things just happen to always go like Muhammad's way, right? Muhammad wants a new wife, boom, just he gets a revelation from God, he gets a new wife. Same shit happened to Joseph Smith, right? He wanted a new wife, boom, revelation from God, he got the new wife, right? So it's like these things.
No, but Muhammad
these
wasn't
things-
a scam artist though. Muhammad didn't
How,
steal
how do you
people's
know
money.
that? How do you know that?
Did he? Do you have any?
I'm asking you.
Yeah,
How do you
it's
know that
positive
he
claim.
wasn't?
It's a positive claim to say that he stole money. So
I mean,
if
you
you're saying
said
that he
you
stole
you
money-
said he wasn't a scam artist. It's like you made the positive
Yeah, we
claim.
have the hadith.
I just asked you, how
we
do
have
you know
thousands
that?
of we have thousands of hadith that, like, without ambiguity, say that he was not a thief, he wasn't a scam artist.
Oh, so it's like the hadith are the
and,
things that are written by his followers, right?
The historical account of his life, yes,
From his followers,
from the people, from his companions, yeah.
from his companions, yeah. So it's like, how do you know there wasn't somebody that wasn't his companion? Maybe he was arrested. Maybe he did like a lot of bad things, and we know nothing about it. Do you have any evidence that's not the case? Do we have like a day by day like account of his life that we can believe like 100%? And again, I'm not saying I believe he was, right? Because I don't think he was. I don't think it's about it. But you're making this positive claim without actually having the evidence for it.
Yeah. Yeah, so the thing is that there were like a bunch of people in the Salaf. There weren't like a few of them. And they all, like, after he died, like, they all like constantly would share information about him back and forth to confirm it with each other. So the idea that there was some like huge like, thing where someone snuck into the Muslim community who wasn't part of the Salaf, and like made shit up about, like, that doesn't follow. Like, it's verified.
No, it's verified for
If
you.
you just want to,
It's like
if you
because
just want
it's
to
like
assert
your
that it
standard
isn't
of
verified,
evidence.
like, I don't really.
This is the problem. The problem is that your standard of evidence for Muhammad is like very low because you're gonna believe everything, right? Whereas it's like whenever
No.
we start talking
No,
about
I don't
like
believe
other
everything.
religious
No, that's not true.
figures, other
That's
religious
not true.
figures, right? You're going to say,
No,
well,
I don't.
actually,
No, I don't. There's
my standard
hadith.
is higher for
I don't
those.
believe in most of the hadith. There's Shia hadith. There's all sorts of weird hadith that I don't. That there's like 6 books of hadith that are like the only ones I care about. And
Yeah,
like,
but
if you're
they're not
suddenly like,
inspired by God, right?
they're the life of Muhammad, which was
I mean,
inspired by
they
God.
could be, but the hadiths could be wrong, right?
Oh my
Unlike
God,
the
you're just saying
Quran.
the same thing. You're just saying the same thing.
Wait,
Like I
they
already
cannot be
explained why
wrong?
that isn't the case, and you're just asserting
No,
it.
I'm asking if they could
for
be
the
wrong.
reason I already said. No. Oh my God, no.
No? Okay.
Like you're just asserting something like despite the evidence I said of why that didn't happen. Like I can't have a conversation with someone who does that with respect.
So you think they're like 100% trustworthy, like 100%?
Pretty much, yeah. As trustworthy as anything could be from the 600s.
As trustworthy as the Quran?
No.
Oh, so they're not 100%.
Well, yeah, I mean, like everything. Because the hadith, as you were
Because the
saying
Quran is
earlier,
100% for you, right? I'm not mistaken about that.
Yeah, but if you let me,
I'm
if you let me
sorry.
finish.
No,
but the thing is that the hadith, like you were saying earlier, about like subjective understandings and shit, like the hadith are like people around Muhammad, like looking at him and saying that he did stuff. So like that is subjective. Like you're seeing someone and writing your own interpretation of what happened. That's what the hadith are. So yeah, that's why they're not as authentic as the Quran, because the Quran is literally just God.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like there's
All
still like, let's say like 1% chance that you're wrong, right?
No.
No. So what is the percentage chance that you're wrong?
0%, nigga.
No, but okay.
Yo.
So don't
Whoa,
say
whoa,
that
hang on.
first of all. This is the last warning for this. So you said
Oh,
0%.
man. Okay.
If that's a 0%, then that means that they're like 100% reliable. So they must be reliably the same way that the Quran is. But you literally told me earlier that they're not as reliable as the Quran. So are you changing your mind now?
Wait, that's not what you said. You asked me how sure I am about the Quran, not the hadith.
Yes, no. I
The
asked you very
hadith are less-
specifically. I asked you very specifically if they're as
No.
reliable as the Quran, and you said no. Obviously, that was your.
I said
your
no.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see,
Yeah.
so the Quran
The
is
Quran
100%
most
reliable. Yeah, it's 100% because you cannot go more than 100%, right?
Yeah.
So
Quran
if
is 100%
something,
reliable.
so if something is not as reliable as the thing that is 100% reliable, it can clearly not be 100%, right? So it has to be
Yeah, there
lower
could be
than
minor-
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a rounding.
So
error,
I
yeah, sure.
asked you, right? But when I asked you, it's like, what is the percentage that you could be wrong about? They could have like false information or whatever in it. You said 0%. So you contradicted yourself. Did you see how you did it?
No, I see what you're saying, but it's virtually 0% for the reason I already said. I said no, I didn't even assert that. I said as reliable as something from the 600s can be, which is like
No.
historically,
After that,
like
after
yes,
that,
that's the most.
after that, I asked
No,
you,
dude, oh my God.
what is the percentage of them possibly being wrong, and you said 0.
Okay, like 0.0001%. Are you happy?
So there's like a 0.001% that you're wrong.
Something like that. About the hadith, yeah, not about the Quran, about the hadith.
Yeah, I got that. We were talking about the hadith. Yes.
Yeah. No, the hadith are historical like records essentially. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like anything can be historical to a certain extent.
Well, no, because like if they had video cameras at the time, I'm sure they would have done that instead.
Yeah.
But
God never thought about this, right? It's like God always did these miracles when we didn't have video cameras. As soon as we had those, he just like said, "Yeah."
nah, he
no
did
more
a miracle
miracles
and
anymore.
No, he does miracles. He does miracles, bro. What are you talking
Really?
about? God does miracles all the time.
Oh, how do you know that? Can you have one on
See him,
camera or
nigga.
something?
Oh, sorry, shit. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Sorry.
Dude,
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Sorry.
Okay, you're forgiven.
Thank you.
So this is the thing. It's
What was
like,
I saying? Gotcha.
do you have any evidence for like miracles? Like
Oh yeah,
in the modern era?
you know that. Yeah, no, I'll give you one. So you know that tsunami, in 2004 that hit like the Philippines and
Yeah.
Thailand and Indonesia.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. So if you look in Banda Aceh, which is it's like the most Muslim place in Indonesia, there's this mosque, and it's like the biggest, most beautiful mosque anyone's ever seen. And
I
like
mean,
when that
It
hurricane,
cannot be
when
the
that,
most beautiful though, right? I mean, there's the one in Mecca.
Dude, look it up. Look
There's
up.
the
Look
one
up.
in
Look up Banda
Istanbul.
Aceh Grand. Look up Banda Aceh Grand Mosque. It's pretty. It's free. Anyway, the thing is that tsunami, like Banda Aceh, was ground zero for that tsunami. Like it destroyed the entire city. It was something like a ridiculous proportion of the city just like died when it hit because it was just like so bad. That mosque didn't get fucking like nothing happened to it. Like you can look this up right now if you don't believe me. The mosque was like fine. And like everything around it, like, and like, I know what you're thinking, which is like, oh, the mosque is the biggest thing in town, so it wouldn't get destroyed, which is true. However, the mosque was like untouched. Like it shouldn't have happened.
Well, I'm
So
looking
if
at
that
the
wasn't
thing
God, my
right
boy,
now.
I don't know
It's
what
in
was.
Banda Aceh, right? Banda Aceh, is that the one
Banda
you're talking
Aceh.
about? Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
Aceh is spelled IAC.
yeah. So I'm looking at this, and it's like it kind of looks pretty damaged.
I'm
But
gonna
it's
look at it
good.
right now. I don't think
Yeah,
so.
look, I'm going to.
It stood, yeah, and especially compared to everything.
Yeah, but
around
I'm
it, bro.
giving you because you see, I put it in the side chat so like everybody can see it. Okay. So this is the thing. This is the thing with these claims. Because your first claim, do you remember what your first claim was about this mosque?
The first claim was that it didn't get touched.
Yeah, it was untouched. So like now
Yeah,
everybody,
sounds good.
because I put it in the side chat, like everybody can actually go and look at it, and it's clearly not untouched.
Are you
It's
posted?
actually.
Are you posted the? Is this the researchgate.net? Is that where you posted?
Yeah.
Okay.
The mega tsunami of
It doesn't
December
like
6th.
It doesn't like my IP. It's making me do a fucking capture to see it.
I mean, sorry, I don't know about that, right? But look, I
can solve
can save
captions.
the image. Yeah, I can save the image, and I can put the image.
Literally, if you just
in the side
copy,
chat.
the image, like
No,
copy
it's
like
fine, it's
Control
fine.
C and then just paste it. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
At this
I'm
rate,
gonna
just
put
looking
it.
up
I'm gonna
Immoral.
put it in the side chat, so like everybody can see it, right? So this is the mosque. Like it doesn't look anything like untouched. It's actually extremely touched, right?
Dude, that's a bad. Dude, pull up a color picture. That's
It's
a
just
bad
an
picture.
open
Just pull up a
air
color picture.
design.
Yeah,
Very
it's an open air
modern.
design.
No, pull up a color picture because I've never seen this picture before.
I mean, this is from the research. It's like everybody can go look at the whole thing.
Well, no, I'm just saying, go to Google Images and just look up.
Look, maybe this one from like a different angle. Let me, dude. Why can I? Oh my god, it doesn't let me do it. I need to print screen it.
Yeah,
God
dude, this
damn
is
it.
the picture I was. I'll post the picture I was.
Yeah, I also put like the one that I found from like a different. But it's clearly the same thing, right? So look, it's like the level of devastation is not as clear with this one because it's like a different angle, but you can clearly see there's pillars which are like destroyed, right? So it's clearly not untouched. Did it stood? Yeah, I mean, dude, it's like you know what the thing is.
Nah,
Like,
dude, I got that. That's a bad picture. I got another one right here.
You got a better one? Okay, but that's
We
the
got a better
mosque, right?
picture.
That is the mosque.
Oh my god, my phone is fucking stupid, dude.
Oh, it's fine, but that is the mosque, and this is what I'm saying. Like that is
It's the mosque, but that's like the worst possible picture you could have posted of it. I'm looking for one.
Well, I mean, that's not the worst because the first one was clearly worse than this one. Okay, and it's the same mosque. It's the same thing. Like anybody could actually see the mosque.
And it's also, I'll grant you.
Also,
like,
I'm
got
gonna
it.
ask
like,
you.
I mischaracterized. I mischaracterized it like
That's
dramatically, but the point still stands that like there's no reason that building should still be there, like at all.
Okay, do you know Hurricane Katrina? Have you ever heard about it?
Katrina no FEMA. Yeah.
Yeah. So Hurricane Katrina actually like destroyed New Orleans, right? Do you know
I mean, compared
do
to
you know-
the
yeah, yeah.
wait,
Do you
wait,
know?
compared
Do
to
you
the,
know what
compared
part?
to the tsunami?
Yeah.
Compared to the tsunami we're talking about, not at all, but yeah.
Well, I mean, like the hurricane is comparable to tsunami, depending on where it hits.
No, dude, it's
it is
the southeast.
It's depending on
that
what it
tsunami
hits.
was like so much worse than Hurricane Katrina. Like
Yeah, tsunamis are
like,
different. They're
no.
different things that nature does. Okay, I get that. That's not the point that I was trying to make. It's like one of the places in New Orleans that was like barely touched by Hurricane Katrina was actually the French Quarter, which is like where like gay people live. So does that mean that like gays have like this hurricane evading shield around them? Is that a miracle?
I'm sorry,
Also-
I missed the first part
also,
of that. You
like,
said there was
your-
like a gay part of town.
Your picture is also bad. I mean, it's like you can literally look at your picture and you can see it's extremely touched too from your picture too. You can see like there's
Yeah, no,
there's a
I
lot
already
of,
said that I mischaracterized it, and that was my bad. But like the point still stands. That building shouldn't fucking be there. Yeah.
Why
So,
would
like,
you say that it
kind of
shouldn't?
shot-
How do you know it shouldn't?
I shot myself. No, because I shot myself in the foot by overstating it. So I'll give you
No,
that.
no, I
but,
get
like,
it, I get it. But let's say
No, but like, look at
we're
like,
gonna
there's
bring
like,
it back.
oh,
We're gonna bring it back.
dude.
We're gonna bring it
Yo,
back.
dude,
It's
stop
like
screaming. What the heck?
I understand. It's like you said the wrong thing from the beginning. But now let's say, okay, that building still stands, right? And you're gonna say, look, that building, like everything else, was like razed to the ground, but that building still stands, right? And you're saying that's a miracle?
Yeah.
I mean, why?
Why did that building not get a?
Yeah, it's like, do you know? Have you looked at every other building that was close to that?
No, because
building?
they all got washed away. We can't see them. That's the whole point.
Oh, no, but it's like, okay, I understand that. But you do know that we actually have
They were more.
knowledge.
If you're, I know what you're getting at, which is that mosque was built in like, I don't even know what year it was. Like, it was like way long ago. Like, that wasn't like a new building. All the buildings around it were built like more recently than that, like after World War II. Which if I had to guess, after World War II, they probably would be more resilient to shit like that because they had more like codes and like better understanding like architecture and stuff, right?
Yeah, not every building is actually built to actually resist a tsunami or an earthquake or something like that, right?
In Indonesia, they kind of are, man.
No, they're not. In 1977, in Bucharest, we had like an extremely bad earthquake, 7.7 on the Richter scale, which is like really, or 7.8 or something like that, like really, really, really bad, right? The funny thing is like a lot of newer buildings actually were the first to fall. And actually, there were like buildings from like the old part of the city, which were like very old buildings, which actually stood better the test of the earthquake than the newer buildings. So just something
if
being
you're just dealing
old, something being old doesn't mean it cannot sustain a lot of damage, right?
If we're just dealing
Because
in
it depends on
hypotheticals,
how
which is
well it's built. Also, like I'm looking at this building, the minarets are actually gone, right? So like clearly, not everything in that building was actually as solid.
I already told you that. The building was damaged.
I get it.
Like,
what I'm telling you is like there's
why
going
do
to
you
be
keep saying
some things because there's going to be some things, and depending on the design of the building, because if you're looking at the first picture that I've sent you, right, you can see it's like it has like some structural pillars which are like really, really strong, right? And depending on how they're actually being how they were built, right, they can actually sustain a lot of damage before they collapse.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like if you're saying that a building resisting a natural disaster is a miracle, that's a very weak ass thing to call a miracle.
Considering like pretty much no other building in the entire city survived, like no, I think that's a pretty accurate description.
Yeah, I mean it's like you would have to show me like a list of all the buildings in that, because I'm actually looking at this like some picture.
Dude, look up an
area,
aerial,
and the area seems like very wooded. Like there's like a lot of trees, like around this this thing, and like there's just like regular houses in you know. So this is clearly like the tallest building that I see here, like the biggest building that I see here. Like everything is just like residential buildings. So yeah, they would have not resisted, you know, because it's like I remember we had like videos of like the tsunami coming, and there were actually hotels on the seashore, right, that were hit by the tsunami. And you know what? Those buildings survived. Those hotels survived.
Again, you're comparing apples to oranges. What you're talking about was I'm pretty sure that was in Thailand, which it didn't hit nearly as hard in Thailand as it did in Banda Aceh. You're comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, with what you said about the like there was an earthquake that hit a city I was living in, and ironically, the only building that got significantly damaged was a church downtown, and the part of it that got damaged was the cross on top got like tilted like 10 degrees or something.
Yeah, that is crazy.
So
right?
like,
You would think God.
yeah.
So
Well,
whenever,
Christianity's
whenever,
false.
yeah,
Again,
but
Christianity's a false religion, so that
yeah.
could
Do you
actually
remember?
probably
Do you
not be
remember
false.
the earthquake in Turkey?
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of mosques actually were destroyed in that earthquake. Does that mean that Allah doesn't really protect? And it's a false religion.
Well, if it's an earthquake in Turkey, there's gonna be a lot of mosques there, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you do know that there's a lot of natural disasters that destroy mosques too, right? And
yeah,
you do
that's why we should
understand that
build
there's a lot of
infrastructure so people don't have to,
natural
like,
disasters after which a church might
God-
be the only thing that is actually surviving, right?
God tells us to take care of people, so we should build infrastructure such that when natural disasters happen,
Yeah,
people
but
don't die.
what
I
I'm
completely
saying,
agree with you.
yeah, what I'm saying is that you're claiming that this is a miracle because this building survived. And my answer is kind of bullshit, right? Because I could have
Okay,
like a lot of
fine.
other
It was
examples
complete.
of churches that
Yeah.
survive natural disasters, and also places where natural disasters strike and mosque is destroyed, or like another building just survived, and like the city hall survives. Does that mean that the city hall is
I found
yeah.
a before and after shot that I put in the side chat, and you can definitely see that this mosque is significantly bigger than the other buildings that it was next to. Like it makes perfect sense why this would not get wiped out just by looking at it. I'm not an engineer or anything, but like just look at it, man. It's like it dwarfs these like other buildings here, these like houses.
So
That's a valid
any
point.
other
But
miracles?
the thing is that that's not like how the entire city looks. Like there was like I mean, there were like 140,000 people living there, so it was like it wasn't like a small like town or anything. But no, I see what
The
you're saying.
entire city isn't gone. Like there's definitely a ton of damage, right? I saw some before and some like before and after from like satellite images, and you can see like, man, this town got hit hard. But like, I'm sure you're gonna find other buildings that are still there.
Yeah, because it's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki actually had 2 nuclear bombs dropped on them. Funnily enough, there were some buildings still standing.
Not in the what's it called though. There's like a zone where like everything in that zone just gets like incinerated.
No, it's like there's some buildings you can
No,
look
not
at
in that zone.
pictures.
Not in that zone.
You can look at pictures from that era, and you will see.
Nope.
Yes, you keep saying no, and
My
it's a
boy.
yes.
No, I know what you're not. You're not
you're talking about the
I can't
blast
talk straight.
radius. Yeah, you're talking about the blast radius.
Well, no,
And I
because
know
there's
exactly
different
what
like
you're talking
there's
about.
a
Yeah,
certain
and
radius
the
where like
epicenter. Yes, I know how a nuclear bomb functions.
Yeah,
So the thing is,
yeah, that's
like,
what I'm saying, bro.
you're gonna be able to see pictures of both Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and you're going to see some buildings still standing in those places.
That's probably where the Muslims
Dude,
were, dude.
look at this picture in the side
Yeah,
shot.
the
Like
famous
these are
Muslim
not
state in
impressive buildings at all, and these buildings are still standing, right? Like yeah, you can see a few of these got smashed. Some of them are collapsed, but like that one with like the blue boarded up windows on the bottom right, that's still there.
Bottom
There's
one
like a
is
dude
not
in the window.
Japan. The bottom one is not Japan.
No, this is still Indonesia. This is still what was it, Banda
Why are you
Aceh?
talking about Japan then? Why are you talking about Japan then? Don't talk about Japan if you're not talking about Japan.
Oh, no, I
Or you don't know what we're talking about. You just
yeah.
Hey, thanks
So-
for
I know
that
everything.
contribution,
I
but
know everything
but no
about that.
thanks and
So-
don't contribute again.
Yeah, just don't talk about Japan again, okay? Thank you. That'd be
No,
great.
it's fine. It's fine. Just chill. So, like,
Yeah,
Thomas,
yeah.
it's like you're saying that was a miracle that that building survived, right? In the shape that it has, and it didn't crumble. Did any people die in that tsunami in that place?
in Banda Aceh, yeah.
Yeah. Why did
Like a
God?
good portion of the
Why
town
did God
population,
decide to just save the building from collapsing? But when it comes to the people, yeah, just fuck them. It's fine if they die. Yeah, no problem.
Couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell me? Yeah. Maybe it's because there's no such thing as God, and it's just a
God's
natural
plan,
disaster
my
that's
boy.
going to. I mean, you're saying God's
bro.
plan.
You don't have to know. You don't have to
yeah.
understand. You don't have to understand what it is to know that it's a thing.
God's plan. I don't know exactly what
Yeah.
What God's plan is. I don't see any plan.
It's a song by Drake,
What
bro.
I
That
see,
shit slaps.
Yeah, I don't listen to Drake that much. I have a problem with people that are like.
I feel good
the
sometimes.
Pete
I don't. Whoop.
But the thing is like I cannot believe that a good God would actually allow natural disasters in themselves. Why would a good God actually allow natural disasters? Why would a good God allow like thousands, tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people each year actually to be killed by natural disasters? That
I'm
doesn't
not
make
God,
any
so I
sense.
can't tell you. To
Yeah,
me, it
but
doesn't
we
matter.
can use our reason.
Actually, no, I
our
disagree. I
brains.
disagree. You can only and this isn't a God thing. This just comes from basic just sense that you can't have good without bad. You can't have
Oh, of course
happiness
you
without
can.
sadness. You can't have
Of
pleasure
course you
without
can.
pain. No, you can't. No, you
Yeah,
can't. What do you mean?
why? It's like can you prove me like logically how that follows? How does it follow?
The only reason I know that stubbing my toe hurts is because I know what having my toe not getting stubbed feels like, and in comparison, me stubbing my toe hurts.
But I think like the analogy there is like you would have to be able to experience some kind of great toe related pleasure to be able to know what stubbing your toe feels like, because stubbing your toe is like extremely painful. But like I don't experience great toe pleasure.
No, you don't that's exactly my point. Is that if you've never stubbed your toe before?
Wait, no, but I have stubbed my toe before.
No, you're missing my point. If you've never stubbed your toe before, theoretically, right? You would never. What you would say would make perfect sense. Like I don't feel pleasure from my toes, right? Like it's just like, the thing is that like it's when you stub your toe, right? Like the first time a kid stubs their toe, that's the first
They
time
then
that they
realize?
get an appreciation. No, they get an appreciation for like the pleasure of like not having your toe hurting, right?
No,
it's not
but that's
pleasure
not a
necessarily-
pleasure.
Yes, it is.
because we agree that they.
It's a very mild pleasure, an incredibly mild pleasure. Yes, I am pleasured by the fact right now
Okay,
that my leg
can I
doesn't
tell you a thing,
and that my arm doesn't
Thomas?
hurt.
Like for the majority, for almost all the time of my life, I never experience like I didn't even think about my toe. Like my toe is irrelevant to pleasure unless I hit it, right? Like the only thing the only time that I experience my toe is when it hurts, right? So I don't know what toe pleasure is. It's like it's only toe pain, right? So you're saying you cannot experience, you cannot understand pleasure if you don't understand pain, right? So it's like it'd be the other way around too, right? So it's like when do I get the toe pleasure? It's like when is that coming? Because I want to feel it.
I
explained it to you. You weren't
Did he
listening.
just say that?
You weren't listening. Is that if you stub your toe, you realize that all of the times that your toe didn't hurt, that was in comparison pleasurable, right?
But that's not pleasure, though, right?
Yes, it is. It's just very mild pleasure.
No,
it's
okay,
incredibly
so
mild.
I'm going to give you like an example, right? So I'm assuming you're a male, like I am. We have penises, right? So most of the time, the penis is just like flaccid, does nothing. You don't even think about it. It's just there, like another appendage.
For you,
right? On the body. But then sometimes
Your point is
we do need to keep this PG-13.
Well, I mean it's PG-16, right? Sometimes though.
Okay, I have a penis.
That thing, gives me a lot of pleasure, like a lot of pleasure. But sometimes you hit it, right? And just like with the toe, you have the pain, right? So this
would it be pleasurable?
This is the thing. This is the same thing with the. Sorry, so it has three states in which it can exist: the pleasure,
would it be pleasure?
the pain, and the neutral, right? What I'm telling you, and Christian,
fair enough.
Both me and Christian are telling you, we only experience the neutral and the pain. When does the pleasure on the toe?
Would it feel pleasurable to stop feeling pain?
No, but that's not what we're talking. That's not what he's talking
about.
about.
That's the question. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Not really. I mean, it's like you'd be a relief.
Not really. You're giving some room for a possibility.
I distinctly remember this. When I was a kid, I had the flu really bad one year, and I distinctly remember thinking to myself, like, it would feel so nice to not be sick right now. And like I appreciated like after I got over it. Like
actually,
I got pleasure by like just going outside and like breathing. Like I wasn't
precisely like if you said I actually feel pleasure right now, not feeling pain.
Okay,
right?
so here's how I'm thinking about it: is there's this like sliding scale from like -10 to 10, right? -10 is like you're in great pain, 10 during you're in great pleasure. I agree that when you're at -10, you want to be at 0. You're going to be 10 more pleasurable at that point.
Would it be
to
pleasurable
go to 0,
to stop feeling pain?
But that doesn't mean that you're at +10 amount of pleasure. That just means you
Krishan.
made a big jump, right? But
Would
I,
it-
like I
would
think
it be-
that this whole discussion is completely off the rails too. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
it kind of is.
Krishan,
how
would
we're
it- would it
talking
be
about this right
pleasurable?
now.
Would it be pleasurable to stop feeling pain?
But again, it's like, did you understand his like analogy?
I
Because I
do.
think his
I
analogy
think
was
it
like
would.
really good.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
No,
I'm
so
also
the
asking
pleasure,
question.
the pleasure count
So,
is this.
so would it be
okay.
pleasurable? Would it be pleasurable? Yes or no? Would it be pleasurable to stop feeling pain?
It
Not
would be
necessarily
more
pleasurable.
pleasurable, but it
Yeah.
wouldn't. I don't think it would be a
Yes or
state
no?
of pleasure.
The answer is obviously yes, right?
No, it's
Well,
not
no,
actually.
I think
yes.
the answer
No.
is no. When you think about it and when you spell it out the way I have, I think the answer is no. But I think I'm being,
Yeah, but
I'm
You
giving
spell
it
it out
nuance.
the way most people would spell it out. The answer
No,
is
it's
obvious.
desirable. I think you're equivocating between desirable and
I'm
pleasurable.
not equivocating. I'm only using the word. I never spoke about desire or anything like that. I'm talking about Would it be pleasurable to stop feeling pain?
More
It'd
pleasurable.
be pleasurable
than pain,
to stop
yes.
this conversation.
So it's like if you're experiencing -10 pain, yes, it would be more pleasurable to go to 0. But 0 doesn't mean you actually experience.
Thank you. That's
experiencing.
it. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but
you can throw in numbers,
0,
but the
0
simple
doesn't
answer
mean
is
you're
yes.
experiencing any pleasure.
The simple answer would be yes. It would be more pleasurable to feel, to not feel pain.
Are you getting any pleasure from your middle
No,
toe
it
right
would
now?
not.
Are you getting any pleasure from your
Right,
middle
exactly.
toe right now?
I think that's exactly right, Daniel.
Yeah, it's like
No,
I don't
it's
get it.
not.
It's like you're not getting any pleasure from it. But if I were to stop it, you say, "Oh my God, I wish this
My
pain would
question,
stop."
right? It would be more pleasurable.
Or like,
to not
you
feel
know
pain.
what would be terrible if I was like,
know
hey,
what pleasure
Daniel, I
means.
want you to come over tonight. We're going to have a real pleasurable time tonight. And then you
Yeah.
show up to my doorstep
we gotta talk
and
about
I
the
slap you in the
fantasy,
face. I rub
Yeah.
erasers on your arms. I give you a,
nice.
and
Those
and
nice
I invite you
desires.
inside. And I'm like, don't worry, Daniel. As this night progresses, you are going to experience more and more pleasure
'Cause I
as
will
your
stop at some point.
body parts stop hurting.
Yes, it's like I'm giving you
Wait,
delayed
Are
pleasure.
you guys like sexual partners? Is that what you're getting at?
No,
No,
but I'm saying it.
you're not even
okay, my
grasping
bad.
the joke.
Imagine,
Anyways,
you know,
you answered
what
my question.
the
You
hell,
answered
what
my
the hell, what the hell, what the hell. So
You
it's like
answered my
it's
question.
like
It would be
me
more-
coming to you.
It would
It's
be
like
more pleasurable to
buddy,
stop feeling
just a
pain.
second, just a second. It's like me coming to you, and I would just kick you in the nuts and say, "Oh my God, dude, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just giving you delayed pleasure. Don't worry, it's gonna stop hurting.
Yeah, don't worry.
That's
You're
when
gonna
you're
love
gonna get
this.
the pleasure."
Wait, no, actually,
Would it
wait.
be pleasurable to stop feeling less pain? Yes.
Yeah,
or
so
no?
me kicking you in the nuts
No.
would be
Okay, then,
delayed
that's it.
pleasure.
That's
Yeah,
fine. That's
I would
fine.
actually be doing something good to you, right? Because I would give you
Right.
pleasure, not in the moment, right? But I would
Right.
still
So,
give you
so
pleasure.
just to be clear,
Wait, so, like, imagine I'm
it
like-
would be pleasurable to stop feeling pain, right?
No, it wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't.
I
Okay,
think-
no, it wouldn't. Got it. Okay.
I think
Like,
he may have
imagine, like, you're on
blue
the
screened,
ground,
guys.
Yes.
Imagine you're on the ground and I'm just kicking the shit out of you and I stop kicking you. You're not going to describe that feeling as pleasurable because I stopped adding suffering to you. And once you recover,
so-
you're not going to
so if
say,
you stop-
I feel
so in other words-
I'm so great right now, guys.
In other words, if you stopped feeling pain, you're saying that you would
Dude.
not, you would not feel any pleasure
you
from
didn't
that,
even
right?
listen to what I said.
No, I'm just trying to understand what you guys mean.
Dude, you're tracking
You're
like
not
the
trying to
dodo
understand.
bird. I'm telling you, it's like that's the level of tracking you're having with this conversation.
No, I get,
If
I
you
get.
stop
What you're actually
feeling
describing
pain,
is something
that is
entirely
not
different, right?
moving you to pleasure.
So yes or no? Would it be pleasurable to stop feeling pain?
I think this framework might be able to be applied to the Old Testament, Daniel.
Yeah, maybe.
This is like it's making the New Testament even better, right? Like, look, I'm just gonna make things real fucking bad for a bunch of people right now, but don't worry, because it's gonna
Krishan,
be so much more pleasurable when
I
Christ
just
comes
had-
and lets you know that I was so wrong.
I just had an epiphany. Is it painful to stop experiencing pleasure? Holy shit! I think I got it.
That's a good question.
Holy shit, dude! So like,
When you
yeah.
that feeling like you eat ice cream
Can
and
be.
then
Well,
the
it
taste of
absolutely
it
can be,
slowly
yeah.
fades from your mouth. That's agonizing.
suffering.
It's like eating ice cream is actually the most painful thing, right? Sometimes because it's so pleasurable that you're
Just
at
to
some
be
point
clear,
you're going to
just-
experience the
just to be
cessation
clear.
of it, and that's painful.
Just
Guys,
to
we
be
get to be
from
clear.
the-
We get to be
from
clear.
from feeling pain, You would get no pleasure from not feeling that pain, right?
No.
No, you
Okay,
wouldn't.
wait,
You
wait.
would
So
feel no
according to your
you would feel no
argument, if I'm
pleasure.
eating ice cream and I give myself a
how-
brain freeze, that's just even more pleasure. Because once I
So
stop having the
even in
brain
this,
freeze,
even the situation where you guys are talking about three different states: pain, pleasure, and neutral. Would you be going towards pleasure if you stopped, or if you felt less pain?
Oh yeah. If you phrase it like that, I would sign off on that. But
Okay.
it wouldn't
So
going
so
towards like that's like on that analogy with the number line. Okay, right? But you're not feeling pleasure yet. You're just
are you
feeling
getting
less pain.
with your language? Would you say what you're getting more pleasure points?
No, less painful points.
You would get okay, got it.
Less pain points. Yes.
You would, less pain points
Yes.
because
Until you get
pleasure
to zero.
points counteracts it, or
No, it's just like
I
less
think we should
pain
just.
points. Yes, that's
so
it.
okay.
I
So
would feel
pleasure to
pleasure
you
by.
is pleasure to you just negative pain points? Is that what it is?
I would feel
No.
pleasure by ending this conversation. Can we get rid of this?
Yeah, same.
This is crazy.
wait. So like a way to understand this is it would be like if you just stop spending money as opposed to making more money. You would have less negative, but you're not adding any more
So you're right.
positive.
So after you stop spending pain points, you start spending pleasure points, right? That's the way you guys
No, that's
do
not
all
what
this?
they're saying.
No, what is it then?
He doesn't want to know.
Yeah.
This guy's just trolling at this point.
I don't want to. Okay,
I
I'm just
do
asking
believe
you.
he is. I do believe he's trolling at this point. But yeah, anyway.
I don't think he's trolling. I think he has like a
Nah, he
fixed
is.
perspective
No,
and he can't
it's a
go
tracking
anything past.
issue. As I said, it's like you kind
So
of
is
need
it
to track
tracking or
the
trolling?
argument. Well,
What's
maybe
the
both.
argument here?
Well, we did make it like a lot of times. I mean, I'm not gonna go into it because
I
that's
would-
gonna give
I
me
had you
like
guys on-
some
I had
pain
you guys on-
points, and I don't want to experience any pain points, despite being a pleasure for it to stop. And
that's fine.
yes, you know
Sometimes you have
that
to
whole thing.
invest in pain. Sometimes you have to invest in pain in order to feel some pleasure, right?
No, for sure. It's like, but not everybody's like a masochist. Okay, so I don't know. It's like maybe that's you. I don't know, but not
For example,
everybody's a masochist.
working out.
I think
right?
I
hurts.
think I unironically
it
might
hurts,
steal this language at work though. When I like have to tell people to do annoying tasks that I know that they're not going to want to
Yeah.
do. It's like, hey,
I mean,
look,
you
I'd
do-
like to
I mean,
reward
that
you
is how you
with an
already do it,
incredibly
right?
relaxing evening
It's called
tonight.
sacrifice.
Yes.
It's called sacrifice, or it's called working out,
Wait.
right?
So this guy is kind of like the Patrick and the Patrick meme where he's trying to explain a concept and he'll agree to every premise and then reset.
I don't think he ever resets, but you know. It's fine.
What premise am I accepting?
I think we can safely just be done with this this topic because I think it's run its course. It's done. It's over. We can move on from that. But yeah. Anyway, that was crazy. That was crazy. Anyway, do we have any Christians? Anybody that is willing to defend the prompt? And by the way, the prompt is not the one that is actually here in the VC title because it's a bit longer. The prompt is actually the God of the Old Testament is immoral. Change our minds. Is anybody here willing to change our minds or not?
I'm gonna hop off. It was good talking to you guys.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Well, apparently not many people are willing.
Yeah,
so
you mentioned earlier that your morality was objective. I'm just curious, what is your moral system?
It's kind of like morality coming from the laws of the universe. It's coming from the laws of physics, basically. It's an evolutionary. It's an evolutionary argument for why we have morality, which is based on the survival of the fittest and the propagation of the genes, which actually will make us do certain things that actually are
give me an
better for the
example of like
propagation
derived
of
moral
the genes.
Could you give me an example of like what a derived moral ought would be in with your perspective, from your
Well,
perspective?
I'm not talking about oughts. I'm talking about just like morality. So if something is moral, it means it's good, right? It's a
Right.
good thing, right? Like whether or not you should do it, that's a different discussion altogether, right? So it's like if something is good, then we can call it moral. If something is bad, then we can call it immoral. Whether or
Would you
not
agree
you
with the
whether or
statement
not you
that you
you,
should
you
do
should
good?
do it, well, that's a different discussion though, right? Because like
Right. That's what I'm asking you about. Like, what sort of should claims come from
oh, there's I
your
don't think
system?
you can take them any should claims just by the fact of them being. So, for example, the laws of physics just are, right? There's no should behind them, right? It's like there's no prescription for us to do something based on the laws of physics, right? But if you want something, right? So whenever you have a should, you have to have an if before it, right? So, for example, if you want to be moral, you should do
Then,
moral things,
right,
right? That's the
right.
thing, right? If you want to be moral, you should do
So,
moral things.
right. So that's what I'm asking about, right? Like, how would you expand that if then statement, right? Like, what would fit into this box of moral things that if you did them, they would be good? Like,
I mean, look.
it would have been a good action.
So let's say it's like you.
Like, for example, saving a life, right? Under your system, that would be I assume definitionally a good thing, right?
Saving a life, it depends on the context, because this is a very broad context. Because, for example, like a lot of things are lives, right? So, for example, a flesh-eating bacteria is also life. Is saving that
Saving the life
flesh-eating
of someone from a burning building, right?
Yeah.
Like a baby.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. It's like it's like it's very broad,
That's fair.
right? So it's like you need to kind of narrow the scope a bit. Yes.
Sure, right.
Usually it's very good, right? It's like it depends on a lot of factors, but if you can do it, and there's a lot of like things that also like are fulfilled, then yes, of course it's good.
Right, like you do think that there is an objective answer to, or like a solver, right? Like a moral solver. You
It's kind of
obviously
like
would never.
Yeah, so
You say it does
imagine.
exist.
Yeah, I'm telling you, so you can kind of understand what I'm thinking, right? It's like, and the way that I think about this thing. Imagine you're saying, I want to do moral things, right? So and then obviously, if you want to do moral things, then you have to decide what is moral, right? It's like, is this action moral? And then it's like every action you would take actually does have like an objective morality behind it, right? The only hard thing sometimes is actually finding out what is the moral thing to do, right? Because it's kind of like imagine you would have to solve like this mathematical equation, right?
Right. Yeah.
To find out whether it is or not moral,
Yeah.
right?
You,
And sometimes,
for example, taking the integral of something.
exactly,
The
right?
answer
Like,
would. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly, right? Because these things actually come from like the laws of physics and evolution and so on, right? They do have like this very objective basis, right, behind them, right? And the only thing that is hard for us as humans is actually understanding. It's like, where do we need to
What it
start
is.
looking
Right.
for
And there's different
for this
systems.
equation? Yeah.
There's different systems for, right. Like, for example, you would probably in certain contexts be more likely to adhere to or abide with like the decision of like the hive, right, of a hive mind, as opposed to like an individual's decision, right?
Maybe. So it's like one of the
Sure, yeah.
things. Look, one of the things that actually happens in, and there's been a lot of like studies done on this, is the fact that like humans usually is like whenever they're being asked questions, they kind of converge on like a lot of things, right? And it's like, even if like everybody kind of gives like a wrong answer, if you take it like as like an overall, it's going to point towards like the right thing. So because we are products of the laws of the universe, we kind of have this way of intuitively kind of going towards that, right? So, and that's why we feel like stomping on a baby's head, like everybody, most everybody, right? Like the absolute vast majority of people, right, feel that's actually something that's immoral, right? And it's like, and that's how we can create these systems, which are probably never going to be perfect, because we're never going to know all the all the factors that go into them, right? But we can create these systems where we can test our morality, and we can test it. Usually, the way we test it is by outcomes, right? It's like what is a flourishing society look like, right? It's like, and we can just look at it, and we can understand. We can look at various societies, and we can say, well, it's like this society is better than this one, but this one also has like some good things. Let's look at what's in common, right? It's like, what are the things that are in common with these societies? And if we were to do it like this, I do believe that we will get like much closer to having like the entirety of human civilization kind of being having a setup that actually benefits everybody, right, overall.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, just to respond to that, like you can view each country as an experiment, right? But how large is your time window, right? Like your frame of reference, right? Like, are you judging how well a country does over the last 5 years, 30 years, 100 years? And why just countries? Why not ideologies themselves, right? Like there's certain
No, you
compositions
can.
of
Of course, you can do it with anything. It's like you can, if you want
right.
to look at
So
ideologies, yeah, you can look at ideologies, and you can see, okay, this thing is good, this thing is not good, based on the outcomes, right? And
right,
the outcomes.
but just to be clear, you do think there are like there in theory there could be like do you believe that in theory there could be like if there are these like true objective moral determinations that if you could query it, it would say moral
Yeah.
or immoral.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
do
like
think
for
that
example, yeah, for example, you could build, like hypothetically, right? Because I don't think we have
right.
the ability to do it right now. You could build like this supercomputer, right? That it would be able to take all the things like inside it. Do you know like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, right? Like the
Yeah,
supercomputer that
42. I
gave
know.
the answer
I never
42.
read it. I know the name. Yeah.
Exactly, right? And that one, like, if you have like very very clear questions, right? It could actually compute exactly what uh, the moral thing would be to do, like in like all situations.
Yeah. Um, yeah, although like you can stress test that idea and then make also like metaphysical claims around like is it actually possible to create a system within a system like within a system that understands its outer system?
I mean,
If
this
that
would be
makes any sense.
this would be the thing with the computer, right? Because the computer
That would
would not have like
right.
the emotionality of like human beings, for example, right? And the computer
Right.
would
Well,
be able to
definition
actually make this like not decisions, but like would be able to
obviously
tell
the
you.
machine, even if it's a supercomputer, it would lack a lot of information.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, is like in the hypothetical, that was the thing, right? In the hypothetical, it's like you'd be able to give it like all the necessary data,
Mm.
right? But it's like, will we ever be able to get there? I probably not. I don't think we'll ever get there necessarily. And I think the best thing we can do is to just have this system, this moral system, that we are just going to keep perfecting it, right? Like we're keep going to make it better and better and better and better and better. Is it ever going to be perfect? Most likely not.
Is there a label for your moral system? Like, do you align with like humanists or?
I mean, I like the humanist, because look, humanism is a system, right? And I feel like as a system, I think it's good, right? I think it's a good system, because what humanism does, it just has like a few ifs, right? It's like, what do we want? Well, we want the flourishing of society. Cool. It's like, and if because we want the flourishing of society, we are going to be looking at all these things that actually help the flourishing of society, right? And it's like that the humanist system, that's what it does, right? It's like every time something new appears that is going to help their goal, they're just going to incorporate it, right, into the
Right.
humanist system. And I think as a
But
system,
you're
it's pretty
to be
good.
clear, you're calling that system an objective system.
No, no, but it's a system. Like, I don't think putting subjective or objective on systems is, but like a moral system, like a human moral system, it would kind of be by definition like subjective, I guess, because you'd have to have a goal, right? And in order to have a goal, you'd have to have the mind, right? So it's like by definition you would have to be subjective about it, right? That's why I'm saying it's like
Right.
what is the
Sure.
goal for us, right? Like the flourishing of human society. Well, that's a subjective goal, right? It's not an objective goal. It's not like the laws of nature tell us this is what we want necessarily.
I mean, to me, it sounds, and well, this is the same criticism that you can make to theists and religious people, but it sounds like it's really just a matter of preferences.
Well, I mean, it's like morals. Yeah, it's like I understand why you're saying that because it's like you're looking at shoulds, right? And I'm not when I'm talking about whether or not something is moral. I'm not looking at whether or not you should do it, right? I'm looking with, for me, moral. Something is moral or is not moral, right? It's like a binary thing, right? The
Sure.
should
Yeah.
is a bit outside of this, and that's why it's like this binary
But
thing.
right. But you're. It sounds like you're just kind of laying out like your metaphysical understanding of morality, right? You're just saying, I
Yeah.
think there are these things that are, like the laws of logic or the of physics. It's there waiting to be discovered, so to speak.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So it's like whenever you have to make a decision on something, right? It's like you need to do something. That thing only has like three states, right? When it comes to morality, it's either moral, immoral, or amoral, right? So it's like if it's amoral, doesn't matter, right? It's like it's irrelevant, right? It's like the neutral thing. So we can just ignore the amoral stuff, right? So if we just ignore the amoral stuff, we're just going to be left with either moral or immoral, right? So like an action can either be moral or immoral. What I'm saying, and the reason I'm thinking of myself as being like a moral realist, is because I think there's an objective way of determining whether or not that action is moral or immoral. That's all I'm saying, right?
You're
Everything
saying
is
that you think that you think it exists. There is a way of determining if it is or it isn't, right?
yes, yes. And by the way, I'm not saying necessarily that we have.
So do you
We
share
can
Sam
do it.
Harris's opinion on this matter too? It's like the whole moral landscape idea.
I mean, I'm not really. I mean,
Not
I
really.
agree with some of the things he said, but I'm not really like a big Sam Harris fan. Like, for example, I don't think torture is a good thing, so that would put me at odds with him.
Interesting. So the hypothetical of saving, sacrificing a life in order to save a million wouldn't sway you. You don't think you would be a moral monster for not, not killing one person to save a million?
No, it's like because again, so here's like a very different thing, right? Because it's like you can take an immoral action for whatever you conceive as being the greater good. Like, and I'm going to give an example, right? Because I think it's easier to kind of understand these things as an example as examples. So imagine you're like living in the 15th century, right? Then you have like a kid, you have a daughter, and she's playing in the backyard, and she just falls, because they like to climb trees and everything, and she breaks her hand. Okay, and then it's like it's like what is the most moral thing to do, right? If she broke her hand, right? If you want to save her life, what is the most moral thing to do at that point? You kind of have to, cut her hand, right? Because if you don't, she's gonna have sepsis, she's gonna die, right? So like the most moral thing would just be to cut her hand because that saves her life, and that is
Yeah,
moral, right?
given its historical context, sure, yeah.
Exactly, right? So it's like you would be like an extremely moral person for doing that, right? You would still be doing some harm, but you don't have a choice, right, in the matter, right? It's like if you want to save her life, you have to cut the hand. But now imagine, right? It's still you still have a daughter, she's playing in the backyard, but you're in today's age, you're in 2026, and she falls. she breaks her hand. The same way. Would it be
No, I
moral
get
to
it. Yeah,
cut her hand?
obviously,
It would.
obviously,
It would.
the answer is obvious. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying, right? It's very situational and it's based on a lot of factors, right? And I do think that, for example,
You would not hesitate to give the, but just to be clear, right? Like, given a simple clinical hypothetical, you would sacrifice the life of one to save 1 million, right?
as I said, it very much depends on whether or not
That's
it's
the
like
concept.
you
That's
have
the
any
concept.
you have any other options, right?
No,
it depends
no,
on
that's
one
simply it.
thing. It depends on one thing. It depends on whether you think that harm is necessary.
Well, let's
And
just
that's it.
assume that you were told by like this like moral calculus solving
Yeah.
system or supercomputer that you built.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever heard about Leibniz? By the way.
No. What about
Okay.
what? I know he's a person. What about him?
Yeah, like Leibniz was like this, he was a philosopher, a mathematician, and he had this thing. It was called the best of all possible worlds. And
Is this like the behind the curtain thing? No, I think it was something else.
no, that's probably a different thing. So he said it's like imagine yourself the best possible world, right? Like a world in which you can take the best decision, like the best things ever, right? Like for example, in this example of ours, right, where the daughter fell and broke her hand, right? In the best, like even that action of her breaking her hand, like that thing in itself, if you're going to compare it with like the best of all possible worlds, that would be an immoral thing that happened to her, right? Like the universe itself would be immoral towards her for breaking her hand.
No.
Because in the best of all possible worlds, she would not be able to break her hand.
No.
Why not?
Okay. The reason why, because morality, right, only applies to agent. You cannot blame an entity that is not a moral agent. The universe, right, is not an agent. And second, ought implies can. And if the universe have no can or cannot, then you cannot apply morals to it.
Well, I mean, if you're doing that, if you're saying it requires an agent, what I'm saying is that I don't necessarily think that it requires an agent. I think it's about actions.
Can you say that can an animal commit an immoral thing to you?
I mean, like for myself right now,
Well,
probably not.
an animal that doesn't have agency. An animal that doesn't have agency.
Yeah, can an animal that doesn't have agency commit an immoral act? Can a rock?
I can think of a few animals that could probably be immoral. Yes.
Like, would you blame a tornado and tell like the tornado that it's committed an immoral act, like immoral?
No, but this is what I was doing. So what I was doing, I was not necessarily talking about our world, right? And this is why I brought up Leibniz and the best of all possible worlds.
I understand,
right? Because what I was trying to do, and I wasn't saying that is the case. What I was saying is that you could make a case that if you're comparing these two worlds, if you're comparing our world with this hypothetical best of all possible worlds, right? In that way, it's like there's a case to be made that like anything, like even natural disasters, could be seen as something that is immoral, right? Because it's like things are being done against your will.
Well, here's the difference. So in your word that you presented, you're saying that conceive of the best possibly moral world, okay?
I didn't say moral. I said the best of all possible worlds. It's like, and again, it's like it doesn't have like the moral word into it.
So to you, the best possible world is just a world without suffering.
No, not necessarily. It's a world without unnecessary suffering and unwanted suffering, right? Because, for example, if
suffering is never wanted.
That's not true. There's people in today's world that actually like suffering, right? So it's about whether or not you choose it or not.
Hold on. No. Suffering by definition is what is unwanted when experienced by definition. So if you take, for example, a pregnancy.
Oh, sorry. Maybe
right,
it's like I said. Maybe I understood it as pain, right? It's like
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
so what you're saying, what makes somebody suffer?
Pain
So
and
what
pleasure
makes
can
someone suffer
coexist.
might not make someone else suffer. I agree with you, but no one likes suffering because by definition it's the unwanted.
Wait, that's not true.
Yeah, but again, it's like I
Distress,
see
suffering.
suffering.
Wait,
Yeah.
That is true.
If
wait.
if,
So
if
I'm looking at the
suffering is
Merriam.
necessary for pleasure, then what?
Yeah. So
But that's
look,
not
I actually went on
pleasure is the
because I was
opposite of suffering.
I
Right?
saw
If you
It's
have
the
just a
faith in
second.
opposite,
this,
but
it cannot be suffering.
Alex,
okay,
Minato, just a second, guys, just a second. So it's like I actually did go and see what the word suffering actually, what the definition is, and it's fine if you have like a different
Yeah.
definition. We can use that. It's like it's fine. But that's how I
Because
understood it
it's a
also, and that's
philosophical
why
definition.
that's why. So it says the state of undergoing pain, distress, or hardship. Like sometimes,
Hardship.
some people like pain. Some people like hardship. What do you mean? It's like some people like hardship.
No,
It's like
because
sometimes.
let me explain. Because I know like the colloquial use of the word suffering could mean these things, but in a philosophical sense, for example, if you like when a utilitarian say that the standard for goodness or badness are suffering and pleasure, what they mean is basically, by the way, pleasure is the opposite of suffering. Pleasure is what's wanted when experienced, while
Right.
suffering is
So
what's
Daniel
not
Hume
wanted when
just
experienced.
referenced the
If you
dictionary,
want
right?
that, no,
So Daniel
but
just
do you
brought
know?
up the dictionary definition. Where's your definition from?
I mean, it's like the general consensus in utilitarianism, for example. But
So
I
where's the
could pull it up
dictionary
if you
for that?
want
There
to.
should be, if it's general consensus, it should be recorded somewhere, right?
Wait, so
Yeah,
like,
but the
Again,
dictionary is
I'm
going to
not. I'm
record the
not going
colloquial use
to
of the word.
look.
You know what I
Like,
mean?
I also said it. It's like I'm fine
Like in,
if you're using like a different definition of suffering. I was just making sure that you
Oh.
understood why I said suffering too, because that was
Hold on.
my understanding also. Maybe you have a different definition. It's fine. Like
Yeah.
words are not
Yeah,
always
it sounds like he has a.
difficult.
It sounds like he has a proprietary definition. That's fine.
Yeah, it's like
wait, but the other
because
thing is it doesn't really like.
you could define suffering like the way we define murder, right? So like murder by definition is wrong because it's because that's how we define it, right? It's like right? It's like it's not just like any killing. It's the killing that is bad, right? So if you're going to say that suffering is pain that is bad, cool, it's fine. It's like we already defined it. In that case, yes, in that best of all possible worlds, there would be no suffering under your definition. Yes, that is absolutely correct.
There would be no bad experiences, no negative states of being. Okay, that's what we mean by suffering.
No
The philosophical
unwanted
use of the
states.
word.
Like let's just put it this way: no unwanted
Exactly.
states.
Let me by the way look at the definition because I'm not pulling this out of my ass. This is the philosophical
No,
definition.
but it's fine. It's like, look, I'm not going to hold you to like that because I understood you. I think it's okay to move on, right? I was just making sure that I wasn't crazy with the way that I understood suffering, right? That's nothing to do with you. So it's all good, right?
Wait, so basically the two schools of utilitarianism are either isn't ignoring suffering or pleasure, it's what you prioritize reduction of, right?
Yeah, in utilitarian, no, but I'm not saying this standard is what I'm defining what they mean by when they say suffering. But utilitarianism, for example, says that we should maximize well-being and pleasure and then minimize suffering. It does not mean eradicate suffering, but minimize it. But in his best possible world, minimizing would be its abolition. In his best possible world.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, that the best possible world we want.
Okay, I'm reading the definition. Suffering is philosophically defined as a highly unpleasant, so it cannot be pleasure if it's unpleasant by definition. Emotional states associated with considerable pain or stress, which is a distinct from physical pain, right? So it's distinct from physical pain itself. While pain is often a localized bodily sensation, suffering is a non-localized affective attitude or existential distress that arises when an individual have in a negative state of being. So I was correct. The philosophical meaning of the word suffering is what I said. It's what's not wanted.
Just out of curiosity, was this like from Stanford's Encyclopedia of Philosophy?
This is from Root Edge. Okay, it's rootedge.com. There's a lot of sources. So there's like rootedge.com, Wikipedia, Phil
Encyclopedia of Philosophy. That's another one.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like this is commonly known. Like most philosophers, like if you watch them, that's what they mean.
It's experiential, right? Like it's like it's in the experience as like a feeling or.
It's an unpleasant experience. That's at its simplest. It's unpleasant experience.
But yeah, it's
Okay,
like
so you cannot
that,
tell
that
me
being the case. So
present.
it's like I want to go back
Exactly.
to like what I was saying previously, right? So
Okay.
it's like in the best possible world, we could always look at it. It's kind of big, like being the gold standard, right? It's like that would be
Yeah.
the measuring stick. Okay, how do you want to see? What the most moral thing to is? Cool. You just look at the best possible world. Obviously, the
Yeah,
problem is we don't have
I am
access
a
to
rule
it,
utilitarian.
so yeah, we
Yeah,
can't we can't do that.
I agree with you. Yeah, I am a rule utilitarian. So to me, those standards are the correct ones. So
So
go ahead with your point.
what do
do you try to say?
what do you think? I mean, is it what the hell? WTH? I think it's what the hell.
WTH, yeah, that's fine. WTH.
Yeah, what the hell do you want to say?
Yeah. So
they'll-
that was kind of like my my moral.
Well,
I'm sorry,
tell
that's so
you.
far removed from
Right, the
original.
way that I see morality.
Yeah, me too. I agree with them.
Yeah, that's fine. I just think most, if not all, theistic and non-theistic moral systems boil down to personal preference, right? You you can be
Oh,
right.
so are you like a non-cog?
What do you mean by that?
Like a non-cognitivist. How can I explain it? So the best
Like
possible way I can
moral
explain it.
anti-realist.
It's under anti-realism.
It's under anti-realism.
Yeah, it's a branch of.
No. I mean, I believe in God, and
Oh.
Daniel Hume. Daniel Hume had. Yeah, I already know this line of questioning. Yes, technically, God is a being with a mind, so it has to be subjective morality. That's fine. That's fine. I'll bite the bullet there.
Yeah, that's a good argument. Actually.
Right. So, but I mean, it sounds like it would be arbitrarily true, right? Trivially true. Sorry, that if I believe in God, from your perspective, I would be non-cog or moral anti-realist.
No.
Unless I posit like a formulation of God that creates a set of unchanging moral oughts under every possible context, existing statically, non-changing, right?
But well, hold on. So you should be like a more objectivist. You should be like a more realist. You believe that moral facts exist, right?
I do, but again, I'm well aware of the line of questioning or the conversation thread that takes you down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you
it's
Christian?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So like
I'm
you're
assuming since
aware
you're on
of
this
the.
server, you went through this conversation.
Yeah.
Times,
So I'm assuming you're like aware of the rebuttals that have that like moral objectivists would face, but you're still a moral objectivist.
Which ones? I mean, there's already the dialogue tree that I tried presenting, right, where you posit that God, because he has a mind, and his moral oughts and his claims are derived from his mind, meaning a subject. I'm a subjectivist. Is that the dialogue tree that you're referring to?
I guess not, actually. I mean, if you're a Christian, you believe that moral facts exist, right?
Yes.
Well, that would be
in almost a very similar way as Daniel Hume, right? But I wouldn't posit, like at the conclusion of his explanation of his moral framework, right? He described like this supercomputer that if it's fed, necessary contextual information, it's able to produce a moral, not moral conclusion. In that same vein, sort of, I would posit that God is that supercomputer. Plus plus
wouldn't
whatever
that be a problem
for
you?
There's already a problem.
Plus the extra the extra characteristics that make him a personal God.
Yeah, but no,
there's already a problem, by the way.
Yeah, just a second. So the problem that I'm referring to is actually the Holy Book, right? Because if you're a Christian, then you clearly have to believe in the Bible, right? And the moment you believe in the Bible,
right,
then you're going to believe that God did things, right? So it's like
right.
Let's imagine that God is able to tell us whether or not something is moral or immoral. It doesn't mean that he is good necessarily. It just means that he knows what good is, right? So that's it would still leave open the possibility of him actually knowing what is good, but actually deciding to do bad, right? So, like, even if he knows everything.
I mean, so that formulation of God is antithetical to most Christians'
Oh, I know.
conception
I'm
of
very
God,
aware
right?
of that.
I would never defend a God that would make a square circle, right? Or a good bad thing, right?
Yeah, but you understand why that would be the case, right? Because I could actually look at various things
Right,
in the Old
sure,
Testament, for
the
example.
Amalekites, the Canaanites, right? And our
Like a lot of
response, and I'm
things.
sure you've heard, right, sure, and other things, that's fine. And the canned response, right? I mean, I say it's canned, but it's much the only response that Christians who are put in a position that have to defend the Old Testament have to say, which is it is essentially the lesser of two evils, or it's the if these groups of people were left to survive, a worst outcome, which only a supercomputer / all-knowing God would know would have happened, because humans were given agency. This was the better alternative, right?
Guys,
That's
both of you are committing a lot of mistakes right now, okay?
all right.
Because
Go
you're
ahead. What's the
already
first mistake?
yeah. So you're already assuming that like God has to abide by some standard or needs to justify himself. So let me ask you a question. This is known as the Euthyphro problem, by the way. So do you think
Right.
that good?
I know it. Are moral things?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sorry.
So
Go ahead.
which one are you?
I would say it's a false dichotomy. It's a false choice.
So what is the third
Okay.
one?
So what's the
third
choice?
option?
Yeah.
That the entire scenario is grounded on God. That would be the third option, I suppose.
So that to me is just another version of saying good deeds are good because God's command. Like that's the same thing. Hello?
That's fine. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not a false dichotomy. Like it's a dilemma. It's not like escape it to some extent. So if you think and by the way, I think it's as a Christian, you should believe the first one. You should think that good deeds are good because God's command them, and there would be no problem in it, right? But you have to bite some bullets. Is that if God commanded something that you think to be immoral, to you would have to concede that no, it's now
Yes.
moral because
Yeah.
God said so.
I'm not opposed to biting that bullet. Right.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that is
and
well.
most, if not all, Christians would obviously there's not without some consternation, but yeah, they would
Okay.
have to bite the bullet. That I mean, same in the
Okay.
same sense that non-theistic people would have to bite bullets and when posed, hypotheticals, right? Like killing someone to save to save the life, or to minimize some other evil. They would have to commit what they would perceive.
That's not. That's by the way. I think you're biting a harder bullet. By the way, let me ask you. That's why I asked you the question. I asked you which one do you
Okay,
believe?
we're both bullets.
Because yeah. So the
Yeah, but the
problem with the first
calibers.
one. No, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
calibers differ, yes.
the problem.
That's fine.
Like you're
you
gonna have to
might
sit
say
on a
that the
bigger
caliber
dildo. You know what I
that
mean?
a Christian has to bite is infinite in length, right? Because we are referencing the greatest evil being disobeying
Kind of.
God.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Right. So
No, it's like
I mean that's fine. That's fine. It's just a limit. It's just and Christians are not opposed to.
Yeah, this
At
is
least
not what I'm getting at. Like to me, you would have to sit on a bigger dildo because to you would have to concede that God may
Whoa.
like order you to commit something for seemingly no reason. Right? Like if God now
Were
commanded
you
you
here
to
earlier? What the hell? When because we had the Muslim earlier, and he was also like
Yes.
so you do remember like the analogy that I
I
gave?
was I was there for part of it.
Like
Yeah.
the hypothetical, yes. So it's like under that hypothetical, would you do that thing or not?
The hypothetical is if I'm commanded to do something that I thought was evil, would I do if I
Yes.
also believe that it was from God?
Yeah. So it
Or
was,
is it
So the hypothetical
just to be clear,
was.
it was from God, or I believe
Yeah,
it was
it
from
was
God.
from
I
God.
mean, like there's no way for you to knowing except for the thoughts in your head, right? Like people get convinced like 100%, and they will tell
Right,
you, "I'm
yeah.
100% convinced of anything," right? So I don't know how to tell you what the difference is, right? It's like you're gonna have a mental state where you're going to be convinced
Right.
that God is telling you that, right? So it's like, so if God tells you to do that thing, right? Would you do it?
Yeah, I would, but the way you're formulating the way that you just formulated it, which was God told me, right? The only logical answer would be yes to do it. In the same way that if I asked you, well, I'll ask you two questions. The first one, I think you'll have to say yes, right? If you believed in God, right, the all knowing, all powerful, all good, and He told you to do something that you thought was evil, would you do it?
Nope.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so even though it is God.
Yeah, in that moment,
And you
in
accept
that moment,
that and you accept that He's all knowing and all good.
No,
but that's the thing. So that is, yeah.
Daniel, but just play with the hypothetical. I'm asking you.
Yeah, I know.
If
But
you believe in God,
I'm literally answering it. I'm literally answering it.
Yeah,
It's like I swear, it's like I'm not dodging. So the thing is like, just let's say somebody tells me, oh, you have to. I believe in this God, and it's like everybody else has told me, okay, this God is by definition good, by definition that. If I were given the command to do like something that I thought was evil, I would not do it. I would,
Daniel, but just to
in
be
that
clear,
moment,
you're making a mistake.
I would stop myself and I would think, wait a second, what the fuck does this God that is supposedly to
Daniel,
be like all good
No,
giving me
you don't have to. You don't
this
have
command?
I get it.
Daniel, according to
Daniel, wait,
this
hold on. Let
hypothetical-
me finish this 1 second. So, Daniel, in the hypothetical, you accept that He is God. You accept that He is all good and all knowing, meaning that any deviation from a commandment that He gives is by definition not good, right? It's actually evil. So you're deviating from Him telling you to do something that you think is evil is actually evil.
Yeah, I would need actually convincing for why that thing is good, and not just him telling me.
Well,
Right,
this is the
but
problem.
then you're not playing with the hypothetical, Daniel. You're
No,
not.
I
you're
am
not-
because it's like you literally told
you're
me.
not. You're not.
I
No.
literally-
If you
because
believe
in
in
your
God,
hypothetical, and maybe you fucked up here in the hypothetical, you told me God is commanding me something that I think is bad. If I think
No,
it's
but
bad,
standard for bad and good to you is from God. So you
cares?
can't just abandon that standard now.
Okay, but you're not.
well,
you're just not engaging with
if
the
my
hypothetical.
standard is from God, then God also thinks that is bad. So
No, you're not. You're
and
not
if it's
engaging
good,
with
He
the
wouldn't tell me
hypothetical.
to do something that is bad, right?
Yeah, but then He changed it. It became good. That's the whole point of the hypothetical.
No, because look, it's like one of the things that we need to be aware is the fact that there's
The
no
implication
way.
of the.
Okay, we just listen.
I agree with that. I agree with
Listen
that.
to
By the
me.
way, what you're about to
Listen to
say.
me.
Go
Listen
ahead.
to me. It's like
And there's no way we would know if
no.
it is. Yes, I get.
Yeah, it's like there's no way for me to be
To know.
100% certain that that's
Sure.
God, right?
No.
Because I could be deceived.
Yes.
That could be Satan
That's-
that is deceiving me and actually telling me he's God and convincing me like with his like powers and magic that he's evil, he's God and whatnot, and then tells me, oh, and now you have to do this because I tell you. Like in that point, I was like, wait a second. If that
Right,
would
so
contradict the thing that I think, right? It's like if you would tell me, oh, just kill those 100 kids in that orphanage, I was like, wait a second, what the fuck? Yes, I wouldn't do it.
Right, but likewise, if you felt like actually it was from God, right? Like let's just had that moment of doubt, but then for whatever reason it was, let's just say it was revealed to you that actually it was God that was telling you to do this thing, and you believed it.
Then in that case, I would probably start believing that the God that I believed in was actually an evil thing, and I would stop
No, but
worshiping it if that
you're
was.
changing the hypothetical. You're not engaging with the hypothetical.
No, but it's again,
What
it's
the
like
hell?
it's mind, states of mind that can be changed. It's like I don't know.
And
I
like
don't know
in your
what's
hypothetical,
so
when you
hard.
say revealed, what can you explain what you mean by is revealed to you? Because I think that was part of the challenge here.
I've tried finding a word to describe like coming to a belief with.
Yeah, you don't need to do that. You just need to assume that he believed that. Like
I know. That's why
so
I
you
chose
think
it, right?
that God spoke to you.
Yeah, you
I'm
just
just
need to think that. That's
yeah. That my
the point of
hypothetical.
the
Right.
hypothetical.
I may actually be shooting myself in my own foot by trying to give him, like, extending the
Why you
carpet
should
for him to
believe?
walk on it. Yeah, but I'm just trying to say, like, if he believed that God was telling him to do what he thought was an evil act, yet he also believes that this God is all good and all knowing, doing anything but what he commanded you to do would actually be the evil choice. That's my point.
Yeah, but again, it's like if I believe that God was all good, and then He commanded me to do something bad, I will still not do it, and I will still rely on the fact that
No,
God is
Daniel,
good,
Daniel,
and He would
Daniel, he's
forgive
all
me.
knowing and he's Daniel, he's all knowing and he's all good, right? So you would expect.
Yeah, but I am not all knowing. I am not all knowing. I'm not all good.
No,
And the
Daniel,
thing
Daniel,
is,
now you're making a mistake. Let me explain.
no,
Let me
I'm not
explain.
making any mistakes. I don't know. You keep saying I'm making mistakes.
If you're a theist, if you're doing as he told you in the hypothetical,
Yeah.
then all what's
Am I
good
still a
and
rational?
bad
Am I still
are.
a rational person?
You are sure,
Yeah, cool.
but
If
in
I'm a
his
rational
hypothetical,
person, in this
Daniel.
hypothetical, I would not do it. That's the thing.
Daniel,
no, but rationality does not
in
give
the
you to
hypothetical,
morality.
you would.
Okay,
Daniel.
Daniel,
Sorry, I was just joining the
rationality is
crowd.
not normative. Okay,
Daniel.
the problem
Damn,
is
Daniel.
that in his hypothetical, your standard of good and bad comes from God. So you're not just allowed to throw that out the
Do you understand
window
this, my
once
friend?
he does something bad,
Oh,
because
God damn.
bad then is whatever God does not command. Okay.
So
Not
look,
sure if that.
like God might be all good. That's not the point of the question. The question is, if God tells me, reveals to me, whatever the fuck to me, to do something that I believe is bad, I will not do it because I believe it's bad. It doesn't matter
What if it was okay?
if I also
Replace.
believe it's
Let me.
coming from God. If I believe it's coming from God,
Daniel.
it would make no difference. I will not do something that I believe is bad. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
I don't know why it's so hard
Okay.
to understand.
No.
No.
I understand you now. I need to ask what the hell now. What the hell? In your hypothetical, does his standard of good or bad also only come from God? Or does it just align with his personal morality? Does God just align with him? Or is he just like you and he just takes God's word for it?
So you want me to engage in this in like with practical terms or like stick in a hypothetical purely
Yeah,
logical?
I just want to know like precisely the hypothetical, because in A, if he just aligned with God, then he has his own moral standard in which if God
Precisely right, and that
does not
gives him the
align
wiggle
with him,
room. Right.
yeah,
That
then
gives
he can
him,
disagree. But if
right. Yeah.
he's like you and he takes God's word for it, then he can then he should just go with what God says, because that's his standard.
Absolutely. Well, that's the whole point of my hypothetical, right? Is like if you're agreeing to the assertion that you believe in God and you believe that He's all good and all knowing, right? You're left with no other choice but to do what He tells you,
Well,
even if.
then the hypothetical was not that great because in your hypothetical, I would also think it's good, right? So obviously, if I think it's good, I would probably do the thing that I think it's
your
good.
your hypothetical does not
No.
stop him from changing his beliefs. You know what I mean? Like he could just change the belief. No, God is not good anymore.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure who you're responding to.
No, he was responding to
Your
you.
hypothetical does not stop him from just changing his beliefs. So yes, he did believe that
Well,
God
no,
was all good, but after this, he changed his mind.
Are you suggesting that I
change.
also pose? Are you suggesting that I also say in this hypothetical, oh, and you're not allowed to change your mind? Is that what you're trying to say?
But then, according to his answer, he fulfilled like your purpose.
The
No,
moment.
well,
Okay. Let me just say this. The moment you do not do what he commands you to do, you break the hypothetical because you no longer believe in God. How about that?
Well, then let me ask you, what's the purpose of the hypothetical?
It's just to
what
say
are you
that
trying to isolate?
Well, that's basically the hypothetical that you're posing to Christians, right? When you tell them you believe in God, you say He's all good and all knowing, and then He tells you to commit something that you think is evil, right? What would you do? And then obviously the answer is logically, what would logically follow is a Christian would say, I would have to command, I would be, with all the consternation of the world, they would have to say, I would have to do what he told me to
But
do, even if I
think that's an abrogation of your own mind and of everything that you
right.
are. When you're doing
right,
that.
but
So the purpose of that specific hypothetical, when we ask that,
who am I
we just
responding
try
to?
to see.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So when you ask that question, when we, for example, like an atheist asks that question, they're not trying to force you to bite the bullet. They're just trying to see whether your standard of goodness is basically arbitrary, like synonymous with what God says, or do you have like some sort of like your own intuition of good or bad?
No,
right?
so you
That's the
see,
whole
I
point
think that's what you
of the
think.
hypothetical.
I think that's what you think it's testing, but actually, I think when you're asking, when you ask that question to theists,
Yeah.
you're put, hypothetical scenarios are typically meant to test like logical reasoning, right? Like
Yeah.
if this, then what follows, right? So
Exactly.
I think you're posing. You might be expecting some sort of like moral system, some pragmatic or emotionally derived or pressured response to escape from these theists in order to see if, okay, well, actually, they do believe in God and this God is evil, and they just agree that they would torture babies or whatever. Or B, well, they're not actually Christian. Or C, how would you know if they are, if that actually is God, if you did believe it?
No,
that
no,
he
no, no,
told
no, no. It's not like that. It's not like that.
I'm just saying
The-
that
the-
that's the typical unfolding of that scenario when you pose that
It's because there
hypothetical,
are.
right?
I agree with you because there are only two possible answers: a yes or a no. They say no, they wouldn't do it. That means that their morals are independent of what God says.
Sure.
If they say yes, that means that their morals are basically what God says, and this is the point of the hypothetical. This is why, like the Euthyphro dilemma, present this like, is there some standard of goodness outside, independent of God, or are they good, right? Because God is the standard. Like that's the point of the hypothetical. It's
That's
not
fine.
really to
Okay.
trap you, right? Like I think you understand what I mean now.
Yeah. I know I do.
Okay.
See, because it's like whenever religious people, like Christians and Muslims and so on, they say God is this and God is that. I find it very very hard to understand exactly how you know all those things, how you know all those properties of said God. Because I don't understand how you can actually know those things.
Well, which
Like,
properties are you talking about specifically?
it's like you're saying, like creator of the universe. How did he create the universe? Well, nobody knows.
Well, that's a different question, right? Like how he
Is
created is different.
yeah. But it's like, even if, right? It's like, do we know if it? We don't know. We just have to believe a book, right? It's like, is he all knowing? Well, not according to the book, because in the book he a lot of times he doesn't know stuff, right? So it's like he wonders, but apparently he is all knowing. What does that mean to be all knowing? Omnipresent. What does it mean to be omnipresent? Like, I don't even know what that means to be omnipresent. What does it mean to be all good? Like, whenever, especially when in the book, you see a lot of things that don't seem that great, seem actually for most people to be counterintuitively good and actually be bad, right? It's like commanding genocide, telling that if you're not a virgin on your wedding night, you should be stoned, right? Like commanding the rape of Solomon, of David's wives, and so on, right? Like there's like so many things in the book that they're, for most people, if you were to look at them, it's like, if I were to do them, they would be clearly immoral. But apparently, he takes a pass, right? Because the thing is, like, if morality is objective, it wouldn't matter who does the thing, right? If it's me, if it's God, if it's like an
It would
alien
be
from Alpha
unchanged.
Centauri, it wouldn't matter, right? Would still be bad.
Yeah.
But apparently, and in this, I'm getting this all the time from Christians and Muslims, right? Oh, he just does it, right? Because the standard for God is different. Well, then there's no objective morality in that case. Just say it so, and it's fine. But you can't have the cake and eat it too. You can't just say there's objective morality, but also God is not beholden by this morality.
No, I think the argument is usually that the source of good is God, and therefore, if God does it, it is good, and closer to God is closer to goodness, and so it is virtue through like this sort of like holiness. So there just isn't, and He gave you rules that you have to follow
Yeah, I know.
to be more
I get
good.
it. It's like I've heard all the arguments like a million times, right? It's like they're not new. Like, most people know them. They still make no sense, right? They still make no sense, and there's no argument that actually can stand the test of time and the test of logic. And that's my biggest issue, right? When it comes to morality and the Christian God, the Muslim God, whatever God you want, right? They're all the same. They all have these problems. If you're saying your God is all good, is omnipotent, and is like all knowing, then you're going to have these problems. Definitely, you're going to have these problems. But yeah, we didn't really get to talk about the Old Testament that much tonight, Rishon.
Well, I have a question for Christians about the Old Testament. Like, do Christians
was
like
one thing.
separate the New Testament from the Old Testament, or do they just take them both as like two halves of what God? Because I heard that, for example, the Old Testament, just what Moses said, and Moses is bad, he defied God, he blah blah blah. So we should not take it seriously. So what do Christians actually say? I'm very curious.
It depends on the Christian.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, it absolutely depends on the Christian. I mean, I'm sure there's. I mean, there, in theory, the Orthodox and Catholic churches and traditions would give you a consensus reached answer to whatever question you might have about the Old Testament. Protestant religions are way more personalized. Like each person would, you have a group of Protestants that say, "Oh, well, the Old Testament is both historical and symbolic narrative. It's telling some sort of greater story. Obviously, there's questions around authorship that we don't know all the answers to. We have good guesses. There's obviously historical debates about which events did happen, whether or not Moses was an actual Moses or the millions of Egyptians. Jews leaving Egypt was actually a historical event. Blah blah. Right,
It
like this.
wasn't. It wasn't.
Right.
But how do you see the Old Testament? Like when you read the Old Testament and see what God said, do you just
I view it as a
take
narrative. I view it as a God inspired narrative.
So would you take morality from the Old Testament?
Would I take morality from the Old Testament?
Yes.
No, I would align them with my preferences. When the rubber meets the road, I
Wow.
have to be honest and say
So
that
not with the Bible though, right? It's like again, it's kind of like your preferences.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. This is the problem now because clearly you have some standard of good and bad in which you can basically determine which things that God said are bad and which things that God said are good. So which one is that? Is that just like your intuition, your preference?
Yeah, and I would.
Then
Yeah,
oh.
yeah.
So in your hypothetical,
preferences that to my best understanding and intent.
well, and then in your
aligned with.
hypothetical, you wouldn't do what God
Sure.
said. If God told you to do something immoral that you think to be immoral, even though you believe that He's all good, you probably would say no. You would do the same as Daniel.
No, I would sincerely doubt. Yeah, any being, any being that was telling me to commit an act, unless it was very obviously God.
Yeah, but then you get the Old
Testament. What are the signs, like the telltale signs that let you know? Oh, this is very obviously God talking to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a very hard question. Well, a guy
But is it going to be obvious when it happens, or like what about it is obvious?
I would assume so. Yeah, I would assume that if you were in the presence of God, it would be obvious.
No, it's not. No, it's not going to be obvious. Because, for example, to me, like a guy asked me, right, what would it take for me to believe in Jesus, for example? Like he said, what if somebody came in and said, he's Jesus and made miracles? Do you then think that it's Jesus? And I said, no. Like my first thought would be, this might be some sort of like a pretentious person trying to fool me, or that some alien with super high technology trying to influence humans. I wouldn't directly assume it's God. Like I find that so hard to do. You know?
Wait.
I genuinely don't know what it would take to convince me.
No,
wait.
I mean,
so you said it would be obvious to be you're in the presence of God. Isn't there like so many stories and commonly believe that like the devil will masquerade as God to trick like false prophets and shit into leading people?
Holy shit! That's even worse now.
Yeah, but I was already made this point like multiple times, including right now with WTH, because you'll never know. Like if Satan wants to deceive you, like according to the Bible, Satan is like super powerful, right? Like he's way more powerful than a human being, right? And he's described as being able to deceive you, right? Like he can deceive you, right? And it's like, if people can deceive people, how much easier is it for like Satan to deceive you, right? And just pretend that he's God and he's telling you to do these things and those things, right? And you go, oh, it's God telling me, so I gotta do it. And I don't know how you would tell which one is good, which
have
one
you
is
ever
bad.
heard an answer? Has any Christian ever told you, oh, it would be easy?
Oh, some, yeah. I mean, there were Christians that told me, just like the Muslim guy from earlier, they told me that they would just do whatever it tells you. Yeah, and that's simple. Like for them, that is literally simple, because if they would have this
Perhaps
whatever voice in their head, like auditory sense, whatever, they would just do it.
Do you think
By the way, for
perhaps
Islam, it's much easier for Islam because
right? Do you
Islam
think
believes that
perhaps
Quran is
there's
the literal word of God, like literally. So.
do you think perhaps the people that say, or the Christians that say, or the Muslims that say that it would be easy to decipher the word from God versus the word from Satan? Do you think they're actually trying to describe a situation where they've already gone past all the scenarios of like, oh, okay, I'm getting this random text from someone I don't know who's saying it's God and that I should do this, like, or oh, hey, I'm somehow hearing my Alexa telling me, oh, this is God and I should do this. Do you think that perhaps like they're thinking of like the final result of having gone through whatever set of signs and then just arriving at the
I don't know.
final,
I have no way of knowing, because this is the thing, because
yeah.
I cannot read their minds, right? That's an ability I don't have yet. So I will never be able to, probably.
Skill issue.
Yeah, it's a skill issue on my part, right? But I don't know what's in their mind. I don't know exactly what happened until there, what mind states they had before to actually convince them of whatever thing. But the reality is, and luckily, not many people are like that, right? Like very few people do things because they heard a voice in their head that they thought was God and they did a bad thing. But there are people that do those things, right? And they're like from all religions. It's not like Christianity is like, special, or like Islam is special. No, like all religions, right? They all do that. At some point, they have these revelations that they believe is from like whatever God they believe in, or gods, and then they do bad shit because of that.
Right. Or you
Are there
also
a
have
lot of
the
people?
atheist.
No.
You also have the atheist, like psych ward patient that believes that God is suddenly talking to them, and then they go on and do
Maybe,
terrible things.
but again, it's like he's already in a psych ward, right? I'm assuming his
Well, that's
brain
kind of my
is
point,
not,
right? Is like
that same.
is like realistically, anybody who actually believes that they're being spoken to by God to commit some heinous act, they're crazy.
And by the way, this isn't not a terribly uncommon thing in the United States for this to happen. It happens like a few times a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a population of 300 million, a few times could be what? You're just making a point that we have crazy people in the United States.
Yeah, right, but that they will specifically say like, yes, I did this crime, I hurt those people because God told me to.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
For example, for theists can commit bad things because of theism. An atheist doesn't do that. If an atheist commits a crime, it's almost certainly just because of a materialistic reason.
Yeah, because it's like when they're asking you, why did you kill these people? Oh, it's because I didn't believe in Jesus Christ. It's like, no, nobody's saying that.
No, yeah, it's not because of atheism. It never is.
You do realize that like a theist doing, quote unquote, theist doing something bad because of theism, like, first of all, just describe this bad thing. Is it something? Are we talking about a group of theists like trying to expand their territory and justifying quote unquote holy war? Are we talking about like the crazy theist who actually isn't being talked to by God, had a psychotic break, and killed their spouse, right? Because you're not talking. They're not if you're going to say that they're doing that because they're theistic, then I'd say you're being disingenuous or dishonest or uncharitable to
No,
theism.
but I'm not trying to be dishonest. I swear to God, I'm not. But am I wrong? Like, theism can lead you to do bad things, while atheism, nobody does bad things because they're atheists. Like, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's other reasons for why they might do
Well,
bad
are you
things,
saying
but
that
clearly not
atheists would not
atheism.
do? Are you saying when atheists do bad things, they would never tell you that actually I'm doing it because of theism? Is that what you're saying? Because if so,
No,
then
that's
yeah,
not what I
No,
said.
because of
They don't
atheism.
do it because
then
of atheism.
It's
That's the point. Like, they
I
wouldn't
think
do it
the
because of their
point is
beliefs.
yeah, the
You
point
know?
is just that atheism is a much more modest claim than theism. Just the idea,
Well-
like, yeah, there's just no God. Not like, oh yes, there's a God, and he wants me to do this, and he wants me to not do this, and
Exactly.
he wants you to not do that too, or else. And then bad shit's happening.
I'm not sure what your point. So you're not making the claim that atheists don't do bad things, right?
No. I'm just saying that they don't do it because of atheism. Like, they do it for
Because of-
other things. But theists can do bad things because of theism.
Okay, describe a scenario just to be clear.
Well, like, well, there are wars that happens because of theism, but just like the casual, just crazy person. Actually, I heard Jesus does this, say this, so I had to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That
So
happens.
when you bucket that act of a psychotic break, that to me is what I'm calling uncharitable, right? Like, because
Why?
no other theist would ever say, oh, you know what, that person actually is doing a theistic act.
Well, no. For example, like, you could be killed, like I do. I could be killed in here because I am an ex-Muslim, right? I could be killed for that because of theism, because of Muslims. Like, I can, but an atheist would never kill someone because they're a theist, right? Like, that just
Okay.
doesn't happen.
Sure. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. But I mean, you're again, just to be clear, just because there's
And by the way, that's not a crazy person. That's normal for in Islam because Islam told you to do this. Okay, if you're gay, you should be stoned
I'm
to
not
death.
gonna defend it. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not gonna defend Islam. Like, if there's a precept there that you're
Yeah,
pointing
my
to.
problem here is that I don't know Christianity, so I wouldn't know what are the things that Christianity tells you to do depending on other things. So I'm not sure. I think an ex-Christian would do a better job. But clearly, theism can make you do bad stuff, unlike atheism. Like, it's not gonna be because of atheism.
Yeah, I mean, well, technically, the atheism is what just it's a non-belief, right?
Yeah,
It's not,
yeah.
like,
That's why
Exactly,
it
it's not
can't
an
make you do
actual claim.
anything, right?
That's
So
fine.
obviously, there's
Yeah.
other things that could do, like for example, like Pol
Right. I mean,
Pot.
whatever.
Pol Pot, for
Whatever
example,
more.
was not a theist or a deist, right? As far as I know,
Right.
he was an atheist. He was also like a piece of fucking dung and a shit person, right? For everything that he did, right? It's like,
Right.
did he do it in the name of atheism? Clearly not. He did it for like political reasons. And I'm gonna tell you, like, straight up, like, I also understand that a lot of Christians, they're gonna do a lot of bad things for political reasons. The only difference will be they will often invoke religious reasons for the things they're doing, right? Because
Exactly.
Right.
But
they
even then,
understand that the religion is a tool that is very easy to use. It's very easy to manipulate, like a lot of people, just by using religion, right? And by claiming, like this whatever religious thing you want to claim in order to get to your whatever
So
goal you want.
so let's just say if you hypothetically, if the so-called Christian took that or embraced that idea, right? That, oh, hey, I can take advantage of my fellow Christians in order to pursue some political goal. Would you describe that as a Christian goal, like a Christian act?
Well, not necessarily. No.
Right. No one would.
That's
No one
that's what
would,
I'm
yeah.
saying. It's like I'm not saying
So
that
you're just,
every.
it sounds like, yeah, it sounds
Because
like you're
I
just
was,
describing.
yeah, it was an olive branch, right? It's like kind of like, because I want you to understand that I'm not irrational and just saying that every time a Christian
Got
or
it.
whatever religion does something
know-
bad, it's
Yeah.
the religion that made them do it. No, obviously not. But I'm also like
Fair enough.
acknowledging the fact that the religion is a very useful tool for some really bad people.
You okay, that's fine. Do you acknowledge though that perhaps a lack of belief is simply a space, and I'm going to speak in metaphysical / woo-woo terms. There's a vacuum in the soul or mind that
No.
ends up being filled by other spiritual systems that you probably wouldn't like paganism, for example?
Like, look, for example, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I don't even understand what the word spiritual means. It's like I keep hearing it. I understand like what some people mean by spiritual, but I don't see the word spiritual as being something very meaningful, like for anybody. It's because the way that I perceive this word coming from other people is just like everybody's understanding of this word is different. Like everybody understands this in a very different way, right? Like usually some like emotional state that people have, some like maybe needs that they are not being able to fulfill. I probably also had this when I was a believer.
I would describe it as where the point where logic and emotion meet. That's how I would describe
yeah, I don't.
an unsophisticated like religious or spiritual system. That's what I would call spiritual.
So I can only reference myself in this, right? Because as I said, it's like I don't know what other people think, feel, and so on as a direct experience. I try to be as logical as possible. I'm also a person with like a shit ton of emotions, right? I'm like a lot of times I get very emotional and good or bad, and I still don't feel the need for this spiritual stuff that you're talking about. You know, when
You
they
might,
meet.
you might not, but it
Yeah, but I
actually
don't know what
is.
it is. So can you define it like in your understanding? It's like what do
Would
you
you
mean
agree
when
that
you
it's
say
when people
emotion?
speak of when people speak of spiritual elements or entities or concepts, they're talking about things that exist in the metaphysical realm. Would you agree with that?
What do you mean by the metaphysical realm?
Like
outside of physics, beyond physics.
Yeah, beyond physical or material reality,
Yeah, I don't
What's
know
a
if there's such a
realm
thing.
though?
Yeah, I
When you
don't know
say
if there's
in
such
the
a thing.
realm, that sounds like a spatial place.
Yeah.
But a metaphysical spatial place. What is that?
So the concepts of like logic or physics or the concept of time, the past, the future, the sorts of like some philosophers call like the transcendental.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
I don't know if there's anything. There's any such thing as a transcendental.
okay, these concepts, for example, like
Yeah, what's what?
do they hold any space in your mind?
Yeah, that's the only place where they exist. Yeah,
Yeah,
in the mind.
it's
Yes,
just in the material. Okay,
but it's not immaterial. I never said it's immaterial. I don't
you
think.
got it. So
I don't think thoughts are
it's
immaterial.
you think they are material.
Yes, thoughts are material. Yes, they are being
Would you
done
be
by
able
the
would you be able to
brain.
classify? Okay, fair enough. Would you be able to classify certain kinds of thoughts? For example,
Uh,
logical thoughts, emotional thoughts.
I mean, probably we could see them. We could probably classify them. Like we're
You would have to,
humans.
right?
We're really good at classifying shit, right? It's like that's our
Right.
main thing. Yes.
Given that we have like pretty sophisticated like frameworks to describe logic and physics, right? Like you would have to say that there is a classification called like material thoughts that describe the laws of logic, material thoughts that describe physics that exist in our mind, right? Like you would have to say that.
I don't know what you mean by that. I think it was a very confusing way of saying it. So
Well, I'm
I
just
don't
saying like
think so. Like logic is just a language that we made up
that
uh,
exists in your mind.
that
It's a
exists
tool. It's
in
a tool.
yeah
A
in our
concept.
minds,
Okay.
right? It exists in our
Yeah.
minds. It's a way for us to actually describe reality.
I get what that it's a tool. I get it's that it's used to describe reality and to
Yeah.
describe, logical relationships. I get that. I guess what I'm trying to understand is if you were to classify, like let's just say that you were a scientist of the mind, right? Or
Yes.
an anthropologist, and you were specializing in like I don't know neuroscience. Um, those thoughts that relate to logic or physics, you see any use in classifying them differently than say like the thoughts that may be related to believing in God?
Probably.
Yeah,
I mean, like
they would have
yeah.
distinct. They would, because it's material. You would have to say that there's probably eventually we're going to discover some like material quality to them, right?
No, it's about whether or not those thoughts actually relate to something that is present in reality, right? And if those thoughts are actually relating to
I thought you
something
said they
that's
do. They do relate to something in reality, right? Because I thought you
yeah,
said that thoughts are
just a
material.
second. I'm telling you, it's like in the external reality, right? Let's be more precise, right? So, for example, when I'm thinking about the gravity, right? I'm thinking about gravity, and I have the concept of gravity in my mind, right?
It just coheres with
This
reality.
yeah, it's like this
It
spot
corresponds with reality.
corresponds
Sorry.
to something that's outside of my
Right.
mind, right?
Uh-huh.
When I'm thinking about a pink unicorn that is shooting galaxies, that is something that doesn't correspond with something that's outside of my mind, right? So,
Right. So
if I were
you
to
would put that.
classify, yeah, I would just
No.
classify one
I
of them
think
just being, let's put it like in the imagination box, right? If we were to put like thoughts in boxes, so to speak.
no. There's a difference. Like there's a difference between like logical contradictions and logical impossibilities, and empirical impossibilities. So, for example, like you're not gonna find a unicorn that shoots galaxies, but it's something that you can conceive. It's not impossible for
Yeah,
it
of
to
course, obviously.
exist in a way, right?
I can also have the
But in
thought.
logic,
Yeah, I can also have the thought that says
yeah.
square circle.
No, you can't. You cannot conceive of that. You
Yeah,
can't.
no, I can just have the thought that is saying that, right?
But
Obviously,
the
I will
difference.
never be able to have the thought of me actually envisioning the square circle because that would be an
You can't even
impossible.
imagine
That
it.
would be exactly that would be an impossible thing to imagine. So that's not going to be in any
Yeah.
boxes because
Because
But
it's
you
there's
can
no box
conceive
for that.
of the
because
unicorn
because
shooting
it's
galaxies. You can conceive of that. Okay,
Yes.
that's the
well,
difference.
Yes,
it's
yes.
logically a contradiction. That's why we can't conceive it. But also
Yeah,
the pink
exactly.
unicorn, the pink unicorn would also go into the imagination box because virtually all conceptions and tellings of pink unicorns or unicorns in general are that they are fictional, meaning
Yeah,
that they
but
are
the
impossible.
difference between me and you is that I'm putting this unicorn in that box of imagination, of like just things that we made up, right? They are fictional. I'm also
Yeah, you put
putting
God in
God
there as
there.
well.
Yeah, you're
Right, right.
not,
No, I
right?
get
It's like
that. Trust
yeah,
me, trust me, Daniel. I don't.
I know. I'm
know
not
that.
telling you anything new, but this is also like a YouTube
Yeah.
show for other people to understand the fully the position, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose there's a third box that that in your worldview you would say has to exist in the material realm or world, primarily in the mind, and maybe only in the mind, but that just is somehow shared with other people, or people share the same kind of idea of where that they would describe as spiritual, right? Like instead of putting God in
Oh yeah,
the imaginary box, there's a box called the spiritual box, right? And that they
I'm
fill
pretty
up
sure.
throughout.
I'm pretty sure. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there is. What I'm saying though, when I was talking about this, is that a lot of people have this box, but I'm pretty sure that if we were to look inside the box, let's say we have like this you know this machine that is able to look into these boxes, right? And we can just see what everybody has in this box called spiritual. I think we would find like a lot of things which are not the same, right?
I
Some
feel like
people we have
personally
boxes
in
very
my life,
similar.
whenever I've run into people that say that they're spiritual, and then I kind of press them a little bit, like, oh, like what exactly do you mean by that? It gets real awkward to the point where I like change the subject. Like they have not thought about it, and they don't really want to think about
No,
it.
or
They
they'll
kind
say
of
the
just like saying
universe.
spiritual.
They'll say the universe is God, or they'll say, well, actually, they'll say a lot of things that I think Daniel Hume was saying earlier. To be fair.
I mean, look, it's like I had a lot of people, if I were to prod like a bit, and they would just get to like, oh, you have this emotion, this feeling. Well, I have those. I don't call them spiritual. Oh, but if you go to a concert, well, I went to concerts and I had feelings of like joy and elation and all sorts of like these things, right? Because they happen. We are human beings. Obviously, we do have emotions. So am I going to call like every emotion like something spiritual? Well, I don't think that's what they mean.
Clearly not. Yeah.
But you see what I'm having a hard time, right, with the word itself. It's so nebulous, right? I can't really like make anything about it.
By the way, what the hell? What do you think? I want to ask you about something about God. Like,
Mhm.
what do you think about God? Like, just basically lowering your chances of being saved based on where you are born, right? Like, do you think that's fair?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would accept that premise of lowering my chances based off where I was
Yeah,
born.
things you cannot control, you would have a harder time to be saved by God. You could literally, like, God could just let you burn and let you not be saved if he chose to conceive you in a place where Christianity is not very prevalent, right? Like, what do you think of that?
The typical answer that Christians would give and that I would give is that God is just, and that would, at final judgment, be taken into consideration.
But
So
can I ask you like a bigger one? I have a bigger problem than this.
Okay, go ahead.
So for example, would you be able to believe something you're not convinced of?
All right. How much of a semantic bro do you want me to be?
I think it's an easy question. I think it's an easy
it's a
question.
pretty easy
Would you
question.
say yes?
Okay.
I think it's a
Would
yes. I think
ever-
it's a yes.
Well, just to be clear, repeat the question.
Okay.
Just so I
Could you
understand.
believe something you are not convinced of? So, for example,
No,
and I
you
mean
can't.
truly believe it, right? So it's like if I told
No,
you
you can't.
that 2
Yeah,
plus
no,
2
I can
equals
be-
7 billion,
Yeah,
right?
no. I would
No,
say no.
Daniel, this is just tautology. Believe
Right.
in something means
Yeah,
you're convinced of
I
it.
know.
So
But
you cannot
there's a
not
reason.
be. Yeah.
There's a reason I'm asking this, right? There's
Oh,
a
okay,
reason I'm
okay.
asking this. So, for example,
Oh, I think I know. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, I'm not convinced of the existence of God, right? I can't really help it, right? Because I don't believe it. It's like there's.
You're going to hell, Daniel.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to. You see, you said it. It's like I'm going to hell. It's like,
No,
and do you think
no,
that's a
no.
good thing?
No. First of all, what I understand is that there are actually multiple conceptions, official or theological conceptions of hell. Some of them were created in the last, or most of them were created in the last 500 years. And so, yeah, first I'd start off with, okay, what hell are we talking about? Second, I mean, you want to go down the rabbit hole of talking through what judgment is.
I
Do we
googled.
want to exegete the Bible and those verses specifically and acquire
I just did like a
context?
quick Google search. I did a quick Google search and I checked what is the punishment or like not believing in God in
Yeah.
Christianity. And the general consensus is that it's hell. Like the general consensus is that it is
The
hell.
general consensus, yeah, but also give it the scenario where you weren't given convincing evidence for it, or convincing thoughts, or convincing
Well, I guess
revelation.
it depends what they mean. Like, what do they mean when they say you haven't been given enough evidence? Because you could give all the evidence and the person just can't help but not be convinced.
Yeah. So I
So
mean, it's like
what does that mean?
maybe something is convincing for you, right? But let me ask you
Yeah,
something.
but others,
Do you think you said God is omniscient, right? So like God knows everything. So by definition, would also mean that God knows exactly what would convince me, right?
Oh yeah.
And he hasn't done
So
it.
either he doesn't care, either he doesn't
Yeah,
care, or he
because
doesn't
he doesn't
exist.
really
Yeah.
care, right? If he hasn't done it, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
how moral would it be for him to punish me of something that I wasn't convinced? And by the way, there's
Well,
also like
clearly,
another
the
thing.
Daniel, clearly the only logical answer is that you are mentally incapable of understanding or conceiving convincing
But
evidence.
that's God's.
Yeah,
Hold on,
but that's
what
also
God did.
behind.
That's
No,
what
no,
God
that's
In other words,
also
you're a
just a
little
sec,
slow,
just a sec. Maybe,
Daniel, if you want me to call you slow, that's fine.
I'm
What's
not
what's
saying
the
that will
God
be the
made him
case.
slow.
But what I'm saying
No,
is
hold
like,
on. God made him
guys,
slow.
just a second.
Minato, hang on, Minato. Let's let Daniel go. Hang on, yes. Whoa,
Yeah,
Joey,
let me
Let Daniel
finish
go.
my point, please. So the thing is, it's like I have no. So either something is convincing or it's not convincing me. I have no way of doing anything about it, right? It's like you're either convinced or something or unconvinced. It's like you cannot influence that. You cannot choose what you believe in, right? You're either convinced or unconvinced. So
Okay, it's
first of all,
almost self-evident, right?
exactly,
Let him finish.
right? Like
Jeez.
everybody knows that, right? So that
Right,
would be
yeah.
in itself immoral, like to punish me for something that I'm not convinced if you didn't provide me enough evidence to actually convince me, right? And if you said, well,
Sure,
maybe
yeah.
I'm slow, well, again, that's also outside of my power, right? If I'm slow, I'm slow. It's the way I am. I don't have any way of doing anything about it, right? So no matter how you look at it, like punishing people for non-belief, and especially with like hell, which is like eternal punishment and torment, I think that's like extremely immoral. And for a God that says that is all good, I find it very hard to believe that to be the case. If God
I couldn't
exists.
agree more.
It's
Like, I
really
say this
strange
a lot.
theology because it's like, okay, so I'm gonna create this creation and I'm gonna create man in my image so that because I want nothing more than to have a relationship with them, right? And then I'm gonna judge them based on their actions. Wait, no. Actually, you're just kind of a dummy. You can go to hell. Like, what? Have we lost Christianity here, guys? Have we lost it?
Like, yeah, like that doesn't sound fair at all. No matter
It
what
doesn't.
like what mental gymnastic like you can do to yourself, they'll just be brainwashing to me. Like, there's no way you can spin that in a good way. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody fucked their cousin, they can keep saying whatever they want, but at the end of the day, you still look at them like a weirdo. That's the same thing here. You genuinely couldn't do anything else.
Look, and this is the thing, right? It's like at least like people in like Norse mythology and Greek mythology and Egyptian mythology. No, when they were like punished or like they were punished based on their actions, right? So there was at least that, not just like some abstract notion of belief, right? Just believe in me, and you'll be saved. Also, the thing is, you know Pascal's wager, right? Like which is like one of
Yeah.
the dumbest reasons to believe in anything, right? Like Pascal's wager,
Yeah.
because you know what Pascal's
just a
wager
side
tells
note,
you.
Daniel.
I mean,
Just a
there's
little
probably the
side.
banana argument is probably worse, but I'm just gonna say like Pascal's wager is very close. Okay, so the thing is, it's like
Well,
you can't. It's like what Pascal's wager is telling you is like, dude, even if you don't believe, just pretend you do. Well, like God
But
is
you
going to
can't.
be,
You can't
yeah,
do
like
that.
this being that knows everything will be fooled by you pretending you believe in it.
Yes. Like, what the fuck? Like, you can't do that. You can't just believe. Yeah, what the hell?
yeah, what's up?
Yeah, what do you think of that then? Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, it's like it was like a pretty
That beautiful three-handed riff on hell. I
Yeah.
get it. You guys have, I think, a lot to A, repent, and also B, forgive. You guys have trauma that you have to get over. Sorry.
Like what? Like what? I mean, I'm not scared, to be honest.
I'm
No, like,
joking.
let me be honest. I'm not scared at all. Like, even if your God is true, I just don't feel scared for some reason.
Yeah, for
I don't know
example,
why.
are you afraid of the Greek hell?
No.
No, what the hell? Are you
But
afraid
because
of
I
the
don't
Greek
think it's
hell?
Well,
true.
you know
But
why
even,
you're
but
not
to me,
scared, right? You know why you're
no,
not
no, no.
scared. It's because you're not being killed by your non-belief. Okay?
No. I conceived of it. I conceived of what if it's true? Then what would I do? I just like come to the conclusion that I have no respect for the Christian God, so I just don't care. If I'm gonna burn to hell, well, so be
Well,
it.
if
You
they
know?
if they persecute you and take away like the little pleasure you have in life, then you have a problem.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to say this in the face of God, but right now, when I like conceive of it, I just don't. I'm not scared, even if I conceive of it being true.
Well, I'll be honest with you guys. It's like if let's say I die. I mean, not let's say I will die at some point. And let's say after I die and boom, actually Christianity fucking true. I'm at the gates of whatever heaven, Saint Peter, or maybe God, right? If I were ever to get the chance of talking to God, I would just ask you,
I'm gonna give him the
why?
middle finger.
Yeah, why are you being such a fucking prick, dude? Like, really? It's like I would
Yeah,
probably
he
be in
like
hell, but
he showed me
the only good thing
Eden.
I would have is like I would have the realization that I'm actually better than that fucking God that put me there. Like more moral
But
than the
a
fucking
question.
God that put me there.
Yeah, I have a question too, like for what the hell? What the hell? Do you think that God has free will?
Do I think that God has free will?
Yeah.
I find this kind of retarded. You're putting your own like opinions on like an objective standard.
It's a fucking question, you idiot. You're retarded. I'm asking a
Okay,
question,
okay,
not an
guys,
opinion.
Chill.
chill.
Jeez.
No, but because he started
Calm
it,
down.
he was wrong
I know.
again.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I'm just
take a
saying it's
stop,
retarded, dude. Calm down.
I'm gonna
Calm
short
down.
circuit this and simply say that he probably has a will of his own, and not the same kind of conception of free will that humans have.
But
A short circuit is usually like a bad thing to have in your circuit, right?
A short circuit? No,
Yeah, a short is a bad
yeah,
thing to have in your
in an
circuit.
actual like breadboard, sure, that's fine. But as a rhetorical device to get out of questions that honestly I don't know how to answer in a way that would make sense even for myself, I think it's totally applicable here.
I think it's totally fine to just be like, well, I don't know the answer.
Yeah,
that
usually
seems like
the
the
I
honest thing to
don't
do.
know. I don't know is like the easiest way to get out of a question you don't know the answer to, and also like the most honest thing to do.
Yeah, I think yeah. Also, like if you don't know,
you got you
say,
wait. Did
brother,
you
I
guys
don't
did you guys,
fucking know.
did
He
you guys
works
get
in
what I meant?
mysterious ways.
Yeah. Okay.
Because here's my logic. Like to me, if I think about like from a secular perspective and just use what we know of free will, then that would not apply to God. Because if free will is just us being able to do bad, and God cannot do bad by definition, then God does not have free will. Like that's the logic.
If God is
But I'm not sure if a
It
priest would
depends.
say
It
the same
depends
thing.
on the definition of free will.
let's
Free will is a broad term.
what sort of moral systems do you think are non dysfunctional for societies? Like what sort of moral systems and beliefs should societies have?
I think it has to be a rule utilitarian. It's like a society. It's not an individual one. It's more of a society one. You know, it believes in rights. It believes in
humanism would be
yeah.
one of it, right? Because humanism is
Okay,
kind of like a utilitarian.
just to be clear, humanism would be
I don't even
reached by consensus, right? Like you would have to say, okay, what are these like core principles as a society that we have to abide by?
I think we should like
let
not
Christian, if he wanted to say that. What did
unnecessary
you want to say,
harm.
Christian?
Yeah. So I
my
mean,
bad,
I don't even think it matters that much what society picks for their meta ethical. I don't think it matters at all, right? I just think that like anything is going to be better than Old Testament morality as long as we pick something that cares about people in some capacity. Like I still can't get over the fact that if what it is to be good is just for God to command it, when we have that situation earlier that you guys gotta chill. If we have that situation earlier in Daniel's hypothetical, right, about peeling off the baby faces and stuff like that, we come across this. Like what we're not allowed to, what we shouldn't do apparently is worry about the baby, worry about the blood, the bleeding, the fact that it's in great pain. None of that matters. All we have to do is sit around and think about, like, man, what would God think about? Does God approve of this right now? And that's all you can do. So, like, whatever situation, whatever we want to do, whichever kind of utilitarianism, as long as it's concerned about people, I think we'll do a pretty good job.
Exactly. So
wait, so Christian, what's wrong with morality?
What? Your mic is like so far away from your mouth.
Krishan, what's wrong with Old Testament morality?
It doesn't teach you how to. It doesn't teach you anything about morality. It doesn't teach you how to care about people or to.
It actually does in Deuteronomy 23, where it tells you how to treat servants.
Yeah, the Old Testament tells you can beat your slave up as long as they don't date the direct result. Great morality.
Yeah, that's all in a virtue of a payment.
That's in virtue of the Old Testament God. So.
Yeah, by a payment, which is a standard.
No. I'm not talking about the Israelites. I'm not talking about the Israelite slavery. I'm talking about the non-Israel. They can beat them up as long as they don't die as the direct result.
The sojourners. Yeah, the foreigners. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it's out of a payment because they're in debt.
No. You can force them to be slaves to you.
Yes, it is. It's Deuteronomy 23, and a sojourn is to be treated. If you beat them in an unjust manner, then they're allowed to leave.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, it does. And the word's actually strike, not beat.
What? Okay, let's check this out right now. Okay.
Yeah, look up Deuteronomy 23, Deuteronomy 27.
I'm sorry. So what is your claim? Okay, just please let me a bit. So what is your claim about
Well, no, it's not
Deuteronomy.
my claim. He actually said that, like, the morality of the Old Testament is like fucked up or something. But it's just kind of it's a stupid
Yes.
argument because you're putting your own like
Really?
moral ethics and moral standard against something. Like, I mean, who really
No, no,
gives a
no.
shit?
Well, I can use
Because
the
the
Christian
problem
standard.
is that
If we're
if
just
we
trying to
apply,
hang
It
on,
doesn't.
hang on,
It
no, no,
doesn't
no.
make. It doesn't
Please,
make it any
please
less
let us
true.
talk.
Like, is it
So,
like
so
just
let's
to be
try
clear?
and
Is it like you trying to debunk like the Bible or something, or is it just you
no,
giving your opinion?
I'm not trying to
no, I'm
debunk
just
it. As trying to yo,
nobody's
hang on,
saying.
hang,
Just
no, no, no,
let
hang on,
Christian,
please.
please.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, you're
So,
right. You're right.
Yeah, bro. Can you like be
I'm not
quiet, dude?
I'm not trying to. I don't know what exactly you mean by debunk. Like trying to say like the Bible's not true. All I'm trying to say right now is that the morality that's taught to you by the Old Testament makes no sense at all. It's
How
not
so?
any form of good morality, even to other Christians. Like the
Okay, by
morality
what standard?
within the Old Testament is inconsistent. We're supposed
Okay,
to
by what standard?
the one given in by God
No, by what
to be
standard
loving
is
and
it fucked up?
but the one given by God.
Okay, so by God's own standard, it's fucked up. So
Yeah.
so could you show me that in the Bible how it's messed up?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, God says that we should care about each other, right? And we shouldn't kill
Yeah.
people.
Okay, where does it say that we shouldn't kill people in the Bible?
What's that? Leviticus, Exodus 20, Exodus
Yeah,
19.
can you read it?
That's it. You want me to read the 10 Commandments to you?
10 Commandments. I was talking about murder, not killing, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah. So where does it say you can't kill?
Right. So I think. So you think that you should go around killing people exactly when God tells you?
And by the way, just so
Okay,
just
so
so
if
like very
somebody
clear,
walks into your hang
just
on.
a second,
So
buddy,
if somebody
just a
walks
second,
into your
just a
house and threatens your
second,
life, and
just
you
a
shoot them as
second.
a result, they
Yo,
die.
Saldi,
Is that
this is
just
our
for
show,
defending
not
yourself?
yours. Just shut
Dude,
up a
can you be
second.
quiet, dude? I'm having a conversation.
No, yeah,
No,
I wanted to
actually,
make
yeah,
a
you can
point.
listen to Daniel.
Yes, I'm
Go ahead,
also
Daniel.
one of the most. So in the Old Testament, he left. Oh man, I love these people. It's like they can't take anybody trying to tell them exactly what he says.
By the way, he was
The translation
factually
the translation in Exodus, actually some Bibles translated as murder, other just translated as kill, because
Yeah.
the word was the same, right? So when they're using the same word, then yes, it's like you don't know if is it murder, is it kill? Yeah, like the latest translations, they say murder because it's an interpretation. It's like, yeah, they probably that's what they meant. Yeah, but initially it's like it's killed. That's why if you, for example, if you go into the KJV, which they translated it like very literally from the Old Testament, it's just kill. It's not murder, right? So like it's not
it
like
is, but if
this
you
like very clear thing. Okay.
if you have yes, but if you have biblical concordances in the back, the translation is capacious,
Yeah, I'm not
right?
gonna use
It
the
actually
Strong's
provides.
concordance. It's not great. It's not good at all, and that's why like nobody like in academia is
Well,
actually
not
using
even the
it.
concordance, but just a simple index biblical or a biblical dictionary that has
Oh
the
yeah, you can see.
translations.
Yeah, you can see the semantic range of the word, right? Back when it
Exactly.
was actually used, and it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like it's actually like the semantic range when it was actually written. It was much closer to just kill, not just
I
murder.
think what that person was. I think what that guy who just left was trying to get at was the argument that, and I'm sure you guys have encountered this multiple times. It's posing the question to you guys: what standard would you use to convict, right, or to determine that biblical morals are evil?
I mean, we
Yeah,
can just
I,
look at
I,
them.
I understand this
And the
from
thing is,
right.
like, even if you look in the Ten Commandments, we can just not even focus that much on "thou shalt not kill" or "thou shalt not murder." You can just look like 2 commandments later. You can look at "thou shalt not steal." What? Stealing
By the way,
always immoral? Not really.
I want to say this. I want to say this. I want to say this. I want to say that. I tried to say it before. So I fact checked what the fuck I said, which he denied. And yes, you can beat your slave up for no reason as long as they
Yeah,
don't
as long as
die
they recover.
as a direct result.
He was just
Yeah,
objecting
but
to the
he
word.
just
He said it
denied
was
that.
strike instead of beat. He was just
What the fuck is the
just using a
difference?
different. Well, he's just using a different Bible translation.
Well, but the strike means something else than beat in the
No.
translation. Like, what's the difference? So why was it?
I don't
So what
think
was
it
his
matters.
point then? What was his point? Well, anyway, like the from what I read, it doesn't specify any. It doesn't require any reason to beat them up. If they die as a direct result, then you have committed a bad thing. But you can beat them up as long as they don't die as a quote unquote direct result. You know, like so if they die as like an
Well, I mean,
indirect
it's
result
fine
from
if
something
they
else.
die. It's like them dying is not even the problem, because if they
Yeah,
die,
just as a direct result.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. If they die later than 2 days, right? So if let's say you beat them,
Yeah.
they're in their bed, still alive, and 3 days later they die, in which he says, "Oh, it's all good because they were your property, so it's fine."
Yeah. Yeah, and that was my point, but for some reason he just was so adamant that no, we were wrong.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I don't even know what was his point. So to be honest, is
Also,
it
it's
just
like,
like
like in the Bible, it like literally says, like God has certain people which he predestines to go to hell, right? So it's like literally you have no no say in it, right? It doesn't matter if you believe in Jesus. It doesn't matter if you live a good life. You're predestined to go to hell. And by the way, this is not Old Testament. This is New Testament,
By the way,
which is
what are
crazy.
the immoral things that the New Testament like supports or like endorse? Because I only know that the Old Testament is so fucking bad. But what about the new one?
Well, thought crime is the thing that is introduced in the New Testament. Hell does not exist in the Old Testament. There's no such thing as hell in the Old Testament. The Jews'
Oh.
idea of like afterlife, which is not forever. First of all, it was Sheol, right? Which is like this place, like some things will happen, but it's like not forever. Everybody's dying.
Well, yeah, it's essentially the sinful bad parts are burned away, and the good
Yeah.
parts eventually go to heaven.
Yeah, but everybody
So
still
heaven
dies,
exists.
right? Like everybody still dies. No, like even hell is not forever. Like nothing is forever. Like when they're talking about the Messiah in the Old Testament and they're talking about the New Jerusalem, like they're saying is like whoever lives 100 is going to be unlucky to live 100 in the New Jerusalem, because everybody's going to live for so long. But again, like people will still die, right? Like that is still there.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at
Well,
how they're
that-
seeing the New Jerusalem in the New Testament, in the New Testament, there's no death. Boom, it's just abolished somehow, right? It's very different, because the New Testament and Christianity is not just Judaism. It's Judaism with a lot of like Hellenistic ideas from the Mediterranean basin, right? And that's why they take hell, because like hell in Christianity is very similar to hell in the Greek mythology, where you have these people burning, right, in pits of fire and sulfur and so on. And that's how it's being described. And then when Dante came later and he did his Divine Comedy and he presented like hell with all the layers, like it like people just ate it up, because it's like, yeah, exactly, that's how we see hell, exactly how you described it. So that's what it does, and I think that's like the worst thing from like the New Testament.
By the
And
way,
also
there's
like,
a very important question that they can ask you. So when some theists ask you, by what standard did you use to say that that is bad? They just ask you, what did you use to critique that? Like, how did you know that this is bad? So what would your response be to that?
well, I mean, as
If you're
Christian
like,
said, like you can even use the God. God's more.
You can use the stuff in the Old Testament, like the Ten Commandments. We can just use Jesus Christ and his teachings.
Yeah,
I
but
can also use the morality that was written on
No.
my heart as a creation of God's image, right? I have God
No.
supposedly wrote. I mean,
I don't think you
whatever,
can do
man.
that. No, because here's the problem. So if you try to critique a theist, right, in their book, and you say, "Oh, this is what God says to do, and this is bad," yet you do an internal critique, meaning you agree that whatever God says is good, you're just committing like a contradiction, right? Because anything
Ooh,
that God
Nephilim.
says is
Hey, I wonder
good,
if
even if it
sorry, wonder
seems bad to you. Right?
if Nephilim Free has any thoughts on our prompt tonight about the God of the Old Testament being immoral.
Oh, dude,
I
it's
think
too late.
attempts
It's too late to
to
have patience for
make
Nephilim Free.
God seem
I listen to
immoral
you.
is just an attempt to make oneself seem justified for denying him. That's all. I find it pitiful.
What? For what?
What is the moral lesson that we're supposed to learn from Noah's flood?
Lesson. That abandoning God and adopting every way of thinking from the heart of man, it leads to moral decay and justice.
But it didn't lead to
You
moral
couldn't
decay. It
couldn't
just led to
understand that.
death.
You
It just
you
led to
couldn't
dying in a
understand that.
flood.
Do you
But
know
the
what the Bible
story
says
is,
the world was like before the flood?
It
I
was
guess it's
probably
bad.
better than it was during the flood.
Do you
if I was to
know what the
guess.
Bible just how it describes the culture of mankind prior to the flood?
I imagine people were a little better off than they were during the
Don't know.
flood.
Okay, you're gonna comment about it, but you don't know.
Okay, tell us, educate us. Go ahead.
I think it's actually pretty vague, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I want to know what
doesn't
he
know.
thinks. Go ahead, tell us.
So you're trying to slander God's character
Yeah.
about it, about the circumstance, but you don't know why God took action, do you?
Yeah,
You
because
don't
I
even
don't
know.
think, because we don't think that it's ever
That's really
justified to just flood the
intellectual.
entire world. You know, like it's like asking me, is there a justification to just
That's
beat a baby?
brilliant. I suppose maybe we should take your lead and rule our society today that way, without knowing.
Yeah,
These
I would
people
love
did wrong. Oh, what they do? Well, I'm not going to tell you. You don't know? Well, it doesn't matter. I'm
Okay,
going to put
so
sentence on them anyway. Let me just judge
so
them
in
now.
Genesis in
I'm
Genesis
judging without
6,
knowing.
I'll read here what they did wrong. It says
We should build our societies that way, right? I don't know what they did wrong, but let's put
Can I
sentence
read
on them
the
without
Can I read the
knowing.
Bible, Nephilim?
Oh, you need to find
Okay.
out what it says about it.
Can I
How
can I read
about
some
doing that
scripture?
on
Is that
your own
okay?
time?
The fuck is this an issue? Like let
Yes,
him speak.
Hey,
Go
Minato,
ahead.
please chill out, man. Please.
Go ahead, Krishan.
He
Go ahead.
doesn't know. Oh, this is so
Yeah,
loud.
because he's gonna know now. He's learning. It's
Minato,
okay.
can you chill and I'll talk to Neff? Please.
Okay, my bad. I have a problem.
Yeah, it doesn't help when
Yeah,
he
I
responds
think I
and then
have.
I'm trying to
It's like
respond
it's
and
my
you're trying to read.
ADHD. Yeah, I think it's my ADHD. I just can't help myself sometimes. By the way, it's not
But
even that I'm like losing
so
my temper.
I'll go
I'm
ahead
getting a
and
bit
I'll go ahead
angry.
and just
just let
yeah,
I
just
need
take
to
a deep
like
breath.
control my impulses. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
just
do.
hit the mute button for a second, please, dude. Chill.
Yeah, okay.
But I'll read this off for everyone else since he already left. So this is what the description of what the culture was like before the flood, right? It said, "The Lord saw that the wickedness of humans was great." That's it.
What?
Okay.
That was the description of the culture. The
What does
wickedness
wicked
was
mean?
great.
What does wicked mean?
Well, look, the wickedness
Sadness.
it wasn't just it was great wickedness, right?
Wait a second. It
So
wasn't
kill
just
him
a
with a
bit of
flood.
it? I mean,
Great
Christian,
disaster.
it was great. It was great wickedness. Not a little, not medium, not even medium rare. Okay, it was great wickedness. So
Whoa!
that's not reason.
If great wickedness is equivalent to a well done steak, I'm pretty convinced now. This is a moral
I'm
act.
just saying. So they were eating their beef well done. Okay, just keep this in mind.
Get rid of him.
Okay, so is that enough? Is
Hey,
that
Daniel,
not
what
enough?
channel is this on? What channel is this getting broadcasted on? Just curious.
Oh, on my YouTube, but I'm really bad at promoting my YouTube, so
Hold on, are we on YouTube? I really want to watch myself talk.
Yeah.
So just put
To
a
reflect on
capstone on that,
myself.
right? Like his point was that the flood was justified because prior society was wicked, aka evil, not just regular evil, right? Like well done evil.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
but this is the problem is that flood was not just a flood that killed like a few people, right? No, it killed all the people. Not only did it kill all the people, yeah, I'm going to put it there so you guys can see it. Please subscribe and everything.
Yeah, of course,
Comment,
of course I will.
like, I don't know, YouTube stuff.
Start arguments in the comments for engagement.
So, because as exactly for please engagement, okay, give engagement. Coming back to it, so it says there was the wickedness was great, and that was enough reason to not just kill almost every human being, every animal, but also like almost every fish, right? If not all fishes in the world, because the thing is, it's like it doesn't say in the Bible that there were any aquariums on the ark. And the reality is, if there was a worldwide flood, all fish would also die because the waters would be, unsuitable for most fish, right? Some fish will still survive because they're good in both types of water, but the vast majority just fucking dead, right? Not only that, but plants keep like most plants don't survive underwater, right? Like trees, flowers, you name it, just dead. Like everything, just dead. Why? Because there was great wickedness. And somehow we are made to believe that makes sense, right? And and not just that, but that it made sense for God to do it that way. Like literally, that was the only moral way for God to do it was to do it exactly like that. That makes
And
absolutely zero
it's
sense.
also some sort of great moral lesson that we're
Yes.
supposed to apply to our lives and build Western society with.
What moral lesson are you supposed to extract from that?
No idea.
From my perspective,
I
that's
think I know.
clearly
I think I know.
it's just a Christian / Judaic creation allegory.
By the way,
But that's not a
So,
Yeah,
creation
those who
what
didn't
moral
follow
lesson?
God were
I mean,
destroyed.
well, I guess let me be clear. Like the moral lesson there is don't be wicked lest your
My
society
ground.
fall, right?
Like humanity is so prone to wickedness, he literally had to hit the reset button on us and just save like a family.
Yeah, but like even that family, dude. Like Noah was a
And
fucking
those are the
drunkard.
children of Adam and Eve too. Those are all the kids that Adam and Eve have, minus one family
And
that
by
got
the way,
wiped out.
can I make like a joke? Can I make a joke? I will make a joke.
No.
Okay. It's like people might say, "Oh my God, things were so bad, like murder and rape." It's like, dude, it wasn't as bad as when there were only 4 people on Earth. When there were only 4 people on Earth, one of them killed one of the other 3. 25% of the people on the planet
I heard that
were
one, yeah.
murderers, right? Imagine how bad it was. And God did nothing about it, right? God didn't reset. He didn't just fucking kill Adam, Eve, and Cain and just like made some other humans, which were like better. Like, and even Noah was a drunkard, right? His daughters had sex with him, right? So instantly, 3 of the people that he saved were just fucked up. Are you going to tell me with a straight face that only those people were the best? How come God didn't just save like random babies, right? Like 1-month-old babies, which were pure, right? And just save those babies and just raise them as like human beings with like morality and everything, not drunkards and incestuous like pricks and everything.
Well, I mean, I just Googled it, so it was 8 people: Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives. Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives.
So again, it's like, is
That's
that
still
a
a very
good?
small bottleneck.
Is that, yeah? Obviously, I mean, again, it's like obviously this is all bullshit, right? Because it's like we wouldn't be here. We will all have Down syndrome if that was the case, right? If we came from Adam and Eve.
Although, I
It's
mean, their
impossible
rebuttal
to
is
have
that
a
they
population
were
like that.
less sinful, so their cells were healthier and didn't deteriorate, so they could live longer lives, allegedly.
So how is Trump still living?
Nobody knows.
Lost Trump. Well, I mean, if you really want to go down that path, some might say that God saved him on that day of the near miss, that he may have guided the bullet or guided Trump just centimeters to save him.
Damn.
Why do you
So
say
just guided
Trump? Why
him
don't you
just
just
about
take like
right
King
to
Myung
go
Won
to
or
Epstein's
something?
island, right?
Although, I mean, it could have all been part of a conspiracy, just like there was actually evidence of maybe a plot to like fake an assassination attempt in Hungary, and maybe there's suggestions like that might have happened in Trump's assassination attempt with the near miss. Who knows?
Also, I was mistaken. I was mistaken. It wasn't Noah's daughters that fucked him. That
Okay,
was
thank
Lot's
God.
daughters. Yeah, but Lot was the guy that was saved, and his daughters from Sodom and Gomorrah, right? So it's like those were the best people from Sodom and Gomorrah, and 2 of them were incestuous out of 3. 66%
Yeah,
of them were
hit the reset,
incestuous.
and that's like
Yeah,
I
and
would
you still
respect God
get
more if he was
yeah.
he was a scientist. Like maybe if these were like experiments that he was just kind of just like hitting the reset button on, I could understand that and respect it in a way because like he can't control humans, so we're just like growing in a petri dish, and he wants the best samples, and he just discards the rest.
No, but it's like,
And we
why do
just
you
keep
have
kind
to
of
do it
growing.
like that, right? I mean, it's like, I understand you're hitting the reset button, but it's like, you're God, you can do anything. So what is the
Yeah.
point of like killing every baby, every puppy, right? Like by drowning, which is, by the way, like drowning is one of the worst ways you can die. Okay? And he did that with all the
It's like
animals and all the baby animals and all the
Right,
humans and
but
all
I
the
mean,
baby humans.
can you imagine a scientist looking at a petri dish and just like maybe putting a little bit of rubbing alcohol to kill some of the fungus that's growing, but not all of it, and just harming it, but like controlling it in that way? It's not the same. I would imagine God is so far removed from us,
Yeah.
like a
No, it's not the
like a
same.
human scientist looking at a glass petri dish.
No, a scientist is not omnipotent. Okay, God is
Yeah,
omnipotent.
that's fair enough. But like, I don't want this
And yeah,
God to
like
be
what if the
omnipotent. I want this
scientists instead chose to use a tiny syringe and inject all of the bacteria one by one?
Oh, something
with this
something
and
like
be like,
I don't know,
whoa,
maybe
okay,
like a
now
Jesus Christ
it's
character or a Moses.
well, no, I'm just trying to point out that like if they do it in the weird particular way, you have to wonder why they're doing it that way.
Yeah,
Like it
of
makes
course. I
sense for
mean,
the
they're
scientists to use
studying
rubbing
us.
alcohol. God can just he poofs us into existence. He can just poof us out of existence, or just poof the world to be in the better state. Like there's a
Exactly.
million
That's
ways
why I
for him to
think he
miraculously
can't.
intervene.
That's why
I
this
mean,
God is more
that would be
interesting when
so
we
easy,
accept
right?
like a
For God.
scientist is
Because
I think it's
imagine,
also
like if we are
the problem of
genuinely having
evil.
free will according to what they say, then like God can't control us, and I think that's represented in the Bible. Like what are the first things like after they name all the animals, Adam and Eve, they bite the apple and get kicked out? It's a pretty straightforward story. Like God
yeah,
made them
but
that
at the
way
same
without
time,
knowledge
they
of good
have
and evil,
heaven.
and then they
Yeah,
did it.
but they have heaven, and also people in heaven have free will apparently. But they also they
Yeah,
only do
exactly.
good.
Well,
So again,
that's
it doesn't really
interesting.
make sense, right?
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like my own
And by the way,
interpretations, I
it's
don't
like
think
even
angels have free
us,
will.
yeah, even us as humans, like for example, is like one of the things that we did is like, we treated animals like really bad for like millennia, right? And like, but recently we understood the wait a second, it's like animals can also like feel, pain and suffering and distress, and so maybe we should also like take care of the animals, right? So that's why we have laws against mistreating animals, right? So we are getting better at this shit. But apparently God is like, was like the all-knowing creator of the universe, never got around to those things apparently. But yeah, doesn't really make that much sense. But maybe that's just me and Christian. What can I say, man? We're really bad at this, really bad.
Skill
But anyway, yeah,
issue.
it's a skill issue. It's always a skill issue. But anyway, it's like I'm going to stop the stream for now. So yeah, thank you to everybody that was part of tonight's show. It's also been a pretty
Yeah,
long
those
one.
cool guys. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to